Hello everyone, welcome back to Ruby Tarot. Thank you so much for always following and supporting this channel. The very moment you come across this video is exactly the right time for you to receive its message. On this channel, I always bring you messages about the things that are about to unfold in your life. When you open your heart and place your trust in the positive, you are also connecting with a parallel world, a dimension where your wishes have already become reality. Today, through this tarot reading, I will help you discover the direction for your love life and guide you toward manifesting your own heartfelt desires. The theme of today's reading is, what does your person truly think about you? Let's explore this together right now. I have chosen 3 cards, corresponding to Pile 1, Pile 2, and Pile 3. Listen closely to your intuition and choose the pile that draws you in the most. Then, click on the timestamp in the description box to go directly to your reading. Now, let us begin the session with those of you who have already made your choice. Hello to all of you who have chosen Pile 1. Thank you for your patience, and now I will begin the reading dedicated to those of you who selected the first pile. My intention is that this reading will bring you healing, new realizations, and moments filled with love and warmth. The theme we are exploring today is, what does your person truly think about you? First of all, let us take a look at the present situation. This means the current state of the person you are thinking of. Let's listen together to what the cards are about to reveal. The very first card that appears is the 2 of Wands. Following it, we have the 8 of Wands, Death, and the Queen of Pentacles. Finally, I also pulled an oracle card, and the one that emerged is the Butterfly. When I look at the entirety of these cards together, the present condition of this person becomes vividly clear. It is as if they are in a state of intense desire for transformation, longing to look toward a new path, a new horizon. Within them, a powerful energy is awakening, an undeniable yearning to move forward, to step out of their current comfort zone, and to seek something different, something beyond what they have known. I feel strongly that this is not solely connected to their relationship with you, but rather it also reaches into broader aspects of their life, such as career, work, or their overall life journey. It is very possible that this person has been thinking about making a shift in their work life, perhaps considering a change of company, daring themselves to explore an entirely new field, or even nurturing the idea of starting something on their own, creating something that truly belongs to them. With the card of Death paired with the Queen of Pentacles, it becomes clear that they not only want to bring an end to an old cycle, but also wish to embark on a new journey that is more stable, more grounded, one that brings prosperity and a solid sense of security for themselves. And the presence of the Oracle card, the Butterfly, emphasizes in the strongest way this yearning for transformation, rebirth, and the shedding of an old skin to embrace a renewed way of life. In other words, within them arises a deep and undeniable realization. I cannot continue like this anymore. I cannot keep living the same repeated life day after day. I want to step into a new chapter. This is a profoundly positive energy, charged with momentum, with the force of breakthrough, with the drive to evolve. Even if they may not yet have taken concrete actions in the outer world, within their heart and spirit, the flow of change has already begun to surge powerfully. That is why, when I look at this spread, I see them standing right at the threshold of a great transformation. They are yearning to move forward, to seek out a brand new path, a different kind of beginning, not merely to change their outer reality, but to redefine their entire life in a way they feel is more worthy, more aligned with their true self. This person is in a very particular state of mind. On the surface, their current life, as it is right now, might not be all that bad. If things were to continue as they are, they could still live on just fine, managing, without facing any major obstacles. Yet, at the very same time, deep within the depths of their heart, there rises a longing that is undeniable. Life is still long ahead, and they want once again to start something new, to refresh themselves, to become someone who is no longer the same as who they once were. They long to see a world completely different from the one they have always known, as if they wish to open a new door and step through into an entirely different journey. In their mind, a clear image is taking shape of rebirth, of shedding an old skin. It is a drive filled with vibrant, positive energy, carrying the essence of renewal and complete self-transformation. They are thinking about change, about reinventing themselves, about restarting a whole new way of living, and for some, there may already be steps taken, actions begun, in order to bring this vision into reality. The Oracle card that appeared, with the image of the Butterfly, is an unmistakable symbol of transformation, of rebirth and metamorphosis. At the same time, the presence of Death supported by the Queen of Pentacles underscores and reinforces this message even further, highlighting that this urge for change is not fleeting, it is profound, essential, and central to the way they see their path forward. The Queen of Pentacles reveals that this person once had things, values, and achievements that they truly cherished, that they devoted their whole heart to protecting and preserving. Everything they had patiently built, accumulated, and nurtured for such a long time now emerges in this reading as a crucial foundation. Yet what is fascinating is that at this very moment, they are carrying within themselves a burning desire to reset, to renew, to begin again from the very start. They long to set aside what they once held dear, what they invested so much effort into building, in order to step out of their familiar comfort zone and journey toward a new place, a new landscape within the story of their life. This is an act of necessary release, not because they devalue the past, but because their longing for the future has become stronger than ever before. When I look at the entirety of the spread, I sense very clearly that all of this stems primarily from the way they are contemplating their own life. Some of you might think that this entire transformation is directly tied to their relationship with you, and indeed, for certain people, you may very well be included in this picture. But overall, the energy present here is not solely speaking of romance, it is broader, deeper. It arises from their innermost desire to change, and to recreate their life in a way that feels truer to themselves. The most powerful feeling that repeats itself throughout these cards is this: I want to live a better life, a fuller, richer, more meaningful life, and in order to do that, I must change. They are thinking from a wider perspective now, from a broader vantage point, realizing that everything they choose to do in this moment is, at its core, about shaping their life into something more complete, more fulfilling, more aligned with the essence of who they truly wish to become. So then, after clearly seeing that state of theirs, let us now continue to go deeper, to listen closely and uncover what impression they are holding about you at this moment, and where exactly you stand within the landscape of their inner world. The card that appeared in the position speaking of their impression of you is the Queen of Wands. This is truly one of the most powerful cards, carrying an energy of irresistible magnetism. Looking at this, it becomes immediately clear that, in their eyes, you are someone with an undeniable presence, intensely attractive, radiant, captivating, and impossible not to notice. They perceive you as a source of potent energy, and this impression is emphasized the moment the Queen of Wands reveals herself in the spread. Following this, the sequence of cards continues to unfold: the Seven of Swords, then the Nine of Wands. When the Nine of Wands appeared, I drew an additional clarifying card, and what came forth was the Page of Swords. Then, as I sought to deepen the message even further, one card jumped out right away, the Five of Cups. And because the energy surrounding this reading was so powerful at that point, I felt the need to request one more card specifically for the Queen of Wands, and the one that manifested was the Empress. Thus, a very distinctive chain of cards came together, and when all of them are woven into one, they reveal a vivid, unmistakable picture of the impression this person currently holds about you. What this spread shows is the following. In their eyes, you are fundamentally someone who carries a presence of dignity, confidence, strength, and independence. The Queen of Wands, when joined with the Empress, emphasizes that you radiate with a vibrant life force, a rare kind of self-possession, combining both allure and a subtle yet undeniable authority. It may be that deep inside you do not always feel as confident as you appear, but in the eyes of others, especially in the eyes of this person, you stand out with a remarkable aura, like a brilliant flame that cannot be overlooked, a light that commands attention and respect. However, alongside that, the presence of the Seven of Swords, the Nine of Wands, the Page of Swords, and the Five of Cups reveals another layer, another perspective altogether. This person senses that you are holding yourself back, that there is a measure of defensiveness around you, or perhaps that you are concealing something from view. They perceive in you a certain reserve, a subtle guardedness, as though you have drawn inward, retreating into yourself more than the radiant image you usually embody. In their eyes, it is as if you are going through a phase where you are not as open-hearted as before, as though you have quietly built a wall to shield and protect yourself. They remember you as someone confident, vibrant, expressive, someone who lived with a free, unbound energy, fully comfortable in your own skin, unafraid to show the world who you are. And yet, at the same time, they now feel that you have shifted, that something has happened which has caused you to temporarily close yourself off, to no longer display that same freedom, that same brilliance, with the fullness you once did. The cards are saying that, in their eyes, you are still the image of radiance, still a queen of unmistakable presence and aura. Yet now you seem to be cloaked in an added layer of protection, as though you are consciously covering over some part of your hurt, your fatigue, or your inner weariness. This is what makes the impression they hold of you both filled with admiration and touched with a trace of concern. They see your innate strength, your light that naturally shines, but they also notice the veil of quiet reserve, even a gentle sadness that lingers, hidden beneath that outward glow. All of this comes together into a picture that is both beautiful and complex. In their eyes, you are undeniably magnetic, a person with an air of confidence and strength that cannot be overlooked, yet at the same time deeply mysterious. It gives them the sense that there is a part of you still out of their reach, a part you are keeping for yourself, held quietly within, making you all the more captivating and enigmatic. It may be that something once happened between you and this person, or perhaps it is not directly related to your connection at all but stems from other circumstances in life. I sense that this will differ for each individual, depending on personal context, yet the clear point right now is this: they see in you a significant change compared to the way you were before. In the past, you were naturally someone who brimmed with curiosity, who carried an endless sense of excitement, a hunger to try new things, the kind of person who would say, "I want to do this, I want to learn that," always eager to explore, to experiment, to push your own boundaries and to keep growing. You were like a vibrant source of energy, always yearning to experience and to evolve. And yet, in their eyes now, you seem to have drawn back from all of that. They see you as having become more reserved, more closed off, as though you are no longer opening yourself to new adventures or fresh experiences. They sense within you a kind of self-doubt, as if you sometimes whisper to yourself, "Even if I study more, even if I try to experience more, will it really change anything? Will it truly help me in any meaningful way?" Because of this, they see you as if you have slipped into a state of diminished confidence, quietly confining yourself within your own walls, no longer daring to reach outward as boldly as you once did. In fact, within their perception, it almost feels as though you have gone through something that has deeply wounded your heart. Perhaps it was a sorrowful event, perhaps a profound loss, something that left you feeling hollow, shaken, or empty inside. They can clearly sense that you are still carrying that feeling of loss within you, and it may even be that you are being held back by it, unable to fully break free. It is as though a sadness, a painful memory, still lingers heavily, weighing you down, causing you to retreat into yourself and dimming the radiance, the energy, the brilliance that once so naturally defined you. And that is why, in their eyes, it feels as though you have lost a part of the vitality you once carried, a portion of that natural enthusiasm that used to be so captivating. They're seeing you now with a quieter demeanor, with less energy, as though the fresh, radiant light that once shone so brightly has been dimmed, obscured beneath the shadow of sorrow. It gives them the impression that something has happened, an event, a turning point, a painful experience that has brought you into this state. They even find themselves wondering, have you truly been through something deeply difficult, something profoundly sad? This very shift has painted their impression of you with a shade of melancholy, as if you no longer radiate the full brilliance of your natural magnetism. They feel that those wonderful qualities of yours, that effortless allure, seem now to be hidden away, no longer expressed outwardly in the same way. In their eyes, you remain someone with great charm and attraction, but at this moment it is as though that is being veiled, covered over by unhealed wounds, by inner sorrows that you have not yet been able to release. And that is why they sense that you are slowly becoming more closed off, carrying within you a lingering sadness, a heaviness that has not yet been lifted and have not truly returned to that powerful inner light that once defined you. When I look at these cards, the very first message that comes forth is that you seem to be caught in the tendency of comparing yourself with others. This is something they sense very clearly within you. It is as though, whether consciously or unconsciously, you have been placing yourself side by side with other people, perhaps colleagues within your workplace, perhaps individuals in your surrounding environment, or even more broadly, people of your generation, people of your own age group. And from this constant comparison, you begin to feel as though you are somehow falling short, somehow less than they are, or that the things you are doing in your life do not carry much significance, that they do not seem to matter as much as what others are achieving. In the past, you always found meaning and value in the things you did. You felt as though you were walking along a path that carried its own sense of purpose, something uniquely yours. But then, at some moment, when you looked back and began placing yourself in comparison with others, suddenly those very things that once held such deep value for you seemed to shrink, to lose their weight, even to feel meaningless. It is as though you looked around and asked yourself, Are the things I am doing truly worthwhile? Do they measure up to what others are achieving? And it is precisely this that has caused you to lose the confidence that was once so natural to you, making you feel as though you are somehow falling behind, or at the very least leaving you with the impression that you are not truly standing out. For some of you, this reading also reveals the possibility that this person, the one you are thinking of, has already noticed these thoughts of comparison within you. They have perceived that you are weighing yourself down with external standards, using measures that do not belong to you, when in truth none of that is necessary. They believe there is absolutely no reason for you to feel inadequate, yet in their eyes, they see you letting those comparisons blur and dim your true light. The energy flowing from this spread is strikingly clear. They see you as no longer carrying the same vitality, as though the enthusiasm and the certainty that once defined you have been drained away. This is what they see in you now, a picture of someone a little fragile, a little depleted, as though you are being weighed down by invisible comparisons. They sense that you are not truly okay, as though you have misplaced your brilliance, as though the luminous radiance that used to shine so naturally from you has, for the moment, slipped from view. And now let us move into the next part, the things unfolding between the two of you at present. What is emerging and moving within this connection? The very first card that leapt out as I was shuffling was the Ten of Cups. Following it came the Eight of Pentacles, then Justice. The supporting cards that revealed themselves were the Three of Wands and the Knight of Wands, along with one card drawn from the Oracle deck. And here, a new story between you begins to take shape with clarity. When I look into these cards to illuminate what is happening between you in this moment, what becomes strikingly clear is that there is a misalignment, a lack of synchronicity that currently exists in this bond. It feels as though the two of you are holding differing visions when it comes to happiness, differing ideas of what this connection should look like and what its true meaning is. The cards are showing that the concept of happiness in your eyes and in theirs does not fully align, and it is precisely this difference that creates a subtle distance. For example, it may be that one of you feels that the relationship, just as it is right now, is already enough, already providing joy, comfort, and peace of heart. This person believes that maintaining things exactly as they are is happiness, and there is no real need for change. But on the other hand, the other person carries a yearning to push this relationship forward, to see stronger growth, to take another step toward a deeper, more defined commitment. And it is precisely this divergence in desire that gives rise to a sense of dissonance. In other words, one side sees happiness as residing in the present moment, while the other perceives happiness as something that must be attained in the future, through progress and forward movement. The first person, though feeling content with the relationship as it stands, is not necessarily refusing change forever. Rather, they believe that right now, this very present moment, is already an ideal stage, a balanced state, the best harmony the two of you can have. They feel there is no need to rush, no need to force progress too quickly. Meanwhile, the other person feels that if the relationship remains here, without moving further, it is as though true happiness has not yet been reached. To them, it may even feel unsettling, disappointing, or something they cannot accept. This creates the sense that the two of you are standing at different vantage points along the very same road. One person looks at where they are now and sees it as a beautiful resting place, a scene that feels complete, a moment they wish to savor and linger in. The other, however, feels that this place is merely a temporary stop, not the final destination of happiness, and they feel the need to keep moving forward, to continue the journey toward a larger, clearer picture for both of you. It is precisely this mismatch in what happiness looks like that creates the gap, a subtle dissonance that makes the shared energy of the relationship feel somewhat tense and lacking in harmony. In other words, both of you love, both of you cherish one another, yet the ultimate goal, the destination each of you is reaching for, is not completely aligned. And this is the very root of the misalignment that is now emerging in the relationship. This spread shows with unmistakable clarity that the side wishing to move the relationship forward, the side that yearns for growth, is the one who is currently feeling the lack, the dissatisfaction, the unfulfilled longing. If, for instance, you are the one who is desiring progress, who is wishing for a clearer future, who wants the relationship to evolve into a deeper and more defined form of commitment, then right now you are acutely feeling this absence. You may feel that the affection this person gives you is not being shown enough, that their expressions of love are not clear enough, not tangible enough. Or perhaps, when you think about the future of the two of you together, the things you hope for and expect do not seem to find a matching response from their side. And that very absence, that lack of resonance, leaves you feeling disappointed, unfulfilled, as though something essential is missing, as though the love is not quite whole. In this spread, the message comes through in this way. If you and this person are already in an official relationship, then it is you who are feeling that their expression of love is too sparse, that their words about the future of the two of you are too few and far between, and that their initiative in building a larger vision together is almost absent. You long for more, you wish for the relationship to rise to a new level, to see clearer investment, to feel a more tangible sense of commitment. Yet what you receive leaves you with a sense of lack and emptiness. You yearn for growth, but they seem to remain rooted in the present, believing the state as it is now is already enough. And it is precisely this imbalance that brings restlessness into your heart. If, on the other hand, you and this person have not yet entered into an official romantic relationship, then the energy here becomes even clearer. You want to see progress. You wish for the two of you to officially become a couple, to have the relationship defined and given a name. You long to step into a new phase, but meanwhile, they are not showing enough initiative in moving things forward. It is not because there is negative energy between you, nor because they dislike or reject you, but rather because they feel that the current state is sufficient to sustain, that there is no need to hurry into labels or changes. Yet this very perspective leaves you feeling stifled, weighed down, as though a heavy cloud lingers above, refusing to disperse. You may have found yourself asking again and again, why does this relationship remain stuck here? Why won't they take the next step? Why must everything remain so undefined, so suspended in midair? While you are always looking forward, wishing to see the relationship grow more mature and secure, their stance feels as though it is holding tightly to the present, and that contrast leaves you feeling adrift, uncertain, and even tinged with disappointment. The spread is reflecting very clearly this feeling of wanting to move forward, but not being met with a response, and it is precisely this that creates the inner tug-of-war, the deep dissatisfaction residing in your heart. That is where the essence of the situation lies. Yet, although you, within yourself, hold a strong desire to push ahead, to progress, and may even feel the lack and yearning more intensely than the other person, when I look into the energy here, I see that you are not necessarily the one taking direct and decisive actions to move closer. It is as though you think a great deal, you long a great deal, but the step of actually making a move, of approaching directly, is not something you are actively doing. And if some of you watching this reading are in the situation where you and this person have already separated, then the story becomes even clearer. You may be feeling that you do not want the current state of distance to continue endlessly as it is. You long for reconciliation, you want a connection to be restored quickly, you want communication, you wish to hear from them again. Deep within, there is an intense longing that this relationship should be rejoined soon. Yet the cards reveal that the communication from their side is not coming in the way you wish. Perhaps they are not initiating messages, not making calls, not creating a direct bridge. However, what also emerges in this spread is that it does not appear as though the two of you have been completely out of touch for an excessively long period, not years upon years with no knowledge of each other's lives. On the contrary, the energy here suggests that this person is still aware of what is happening with you, still observing in some way, as though they continue to keep track of your life, still holding some line of awareness or information about you. Even if quietly, even if not openly reaching out. If you are someone who has had no contact with them at all for many years, then the energy here may not fully align with your situation. This spread leans more toward the case where there has been a disruption, a distance, a silence, yet not a total separation that has stretched on for an excessively long time. What is most evident here is that between the two of you there is now a misalignment, a gap, a lack of harmony in how each of you perceives the relationship. And now, to gain a clearer understanding, let us move into the next part. At this very moment, how does this person perceive the relationship? How do they feel about the connection between you? The first card I drew is the Nine of Pentacles. Next came the Hanged Man and the Three of Wands. The additional cards were the Two of Swords and the King of Swords. And to bring more clarity, I also pulled one oracle card to weave the entire picture together. Looking at these cards, it becomes very clear that the message which appeared earlier, the sense that the present moment is the best, most stable state of the relationship, actually stems from their side. And here, that perspective is once again strongly reaffirmed. First of all, in terms of how they are viewing the relationship between the two of you, the energy of this spread shows with great clarity. They believe that the connection with you will continue to be maintained over the long term. They do not see this relationship as something fleeting, fragile, or easily ended. On the contrary, they feel it carries durability, a sense of endurance, as though it has already been built over a long period of time. And it is precisely for that reason that they naturally assume it will continue to last, that it will keep moving forward with the passing of years. For many of you, this spread reflects that between you and this person, the relationship has truly lasted for quite a significant period of time. It may be a long-standing friendship, it may be the bond of colleagues who have worked together closely, it may be a romantic connection that has already passed through many stages, or perhaps even a past love, someone who was once your partner, your significant other. But regardless of its form, there remains a strong, enduring thread that has stretched all the way to this present moment. And for those of you whose relationship has not yet lasted for very long, the message here shows clearly their hope. This person wants the relationship to continue, to be sustained over the long term, not something that comes to an easy or abrupt end. In other words, within their heart, no matter what state the two of you may currently be in, whether as friends, colleagues, lovers, or even as ex-partners, none of this diminishes their belief that the bond between you will endure. They want it to be maintained. They want its story to carry on. They want to keep you within the orbit of their life. This is what they are quietly sending out, the sense that this connection will continue, that it will not end here. However, the important point is this: when it comes to making a choice, to giving a decisive commitment about this relationship, they are not in the place of intending to do so. They do not want, or at least not yet want, to make a clear, definitive choice. They wish for the relationship to continue, to be sustained, but they do not wish to stand before a crossroads and decide to step into a new chapter, nor to change the shape of things as they are. What they desire is to allow it to flow forward, to carry on in its natural current, without being forced into a sharp turning point or a defining decision. And the reason is very clear. At this moment, the center of their focus is not love, not romance, but work. The cards reveal that their entire vision right now is directed toward their career, toward matters that they consider vital in their professional life. This is a stage in which they are pouring all of their dedication, all of their energy, all of their mind and heart into work, into personal achievement. They feel that this is a decisive time, a pivotal phase, and therefore every other choice, including matters of the heart, is temporarily set aside. In short, they perceive the relationship with you as a bond that is strong, enduring, capable of continuing on. Yet, at present, they have no intention of changing it, no desire to make a clear or definitive choice. They prefer to maintain things as they are, to consider the current state as the best arrangement for now, while all of their focus is being directed toward work and career. That is what they are prioritizing above all else in this period. Looking deeper into the energy of the spread, what comes through with striking clarity is that in terms of their present state, this person is in a mode of wanting to reset, to reconfigure everything they have built, preserved, and valued up until now. This includes not only the accomplishments they have attained, the status, the honor, and the values they have always cherished, but also the very frameworks tied to their work and to the way they have lived their life. All of these things, no matter how important they once were, are now being met with a fierce desire within them, a longing to set it aside, to refresh, to begin something wholly new. They are standing at the edge of renewal, ready to shed the old in order to create space for an entirely different beginning. Within them right now is an overwhelming surge of energy, the force of rebirth, of transformation, of a complete shedding of the old. This person longs to open a brand new chapter of life, to immerse themselves in an entirely different experience, to behold a world that feels utterly new, far beyond the familiar patterns and frameworks they have known before. Inside them is erupting a powerful drive, an immense eagerness, accompanied by a firm determination to reach success. The cards show their energy pushing forward with clarity. I will make it. I must achieve a new accomplishment. That is why, in this present moment, their entire inner strength, their whole flame within, is being poured into their own life and career. And this carries a deeply important meaning. It does not signify that they wish to leave you, nor that they want to end or abandon this relationship. There is absolutely no energy of ending here. On the contrary, they still want to maintain it, to continue, to keep this connection alive. Within them, you are seen as an irreplaceable part of their existence, a presence deeply imprinted and one that will continue to remain within the flow of their life. They perceive you as someone who will still exist, who will still accompany them in the journey that lies ahead. However, it must also be understood that, at this particular point in time, they feel compelled to direct their gaze and their efforts toward what they believe to be most essential. And this is not out of obligation or duty, it is born from desire. This is a longing that arises from within, a passion, a fiery urge to reach for a higher rung on the ladder, a wider horizon. This person yearns to step into a new phase of their career, to initiate new projects, to create something grander, and this aspiration appears here with overwhelming strength. In other words, you are still the one they want to keep by their side, but at the same time, their heart is channeling all of its energy into career, into the creation of their future. A great ambition, a yearning to reach further, a spirit that longs to break through, that is what now dominates their mind and soul. At present, the energy of the spread shows with absolute clarity that this person is in a phase where they want to devote their full focus, their entire strength and spirit, to something else of immense importance in their life. Something deeply connected to personal aspiration, to work, to the goals they are pursuing. This feeling shines through with intensity, as though they want to give themselves wholeheartedly, without distraction, without anything scattering their energy. And precisely because they want to concentrate in this way does not mean they want to end things with you, nor that they are diminishing your place or significance in their life. There is no energy here of distancing, no energy of exclusion. On the contrary, they still wish to maintain this relationship, to keep you in their life, to see you as someone who will continue to walk alongside them. It is simply that, in their heart at this moment, they are not entertaining the thought of making a major decision about the relationship. They do not deny that at some point in the future a choice may need to be made, but they feel with great certainty that the time has not yet arrived, that right now is not that moment. And that is exactly the message they are sending forth. This person is not saying they will never make a choice, nor that they wish to avoid it forever. Rather, they are telling themselves quietly, now is not the time for me to decide this. I must keep my focus on what lies immediately before me, on the path I am walking. They are not rejecting the relationship, nor wishing to abandon it, but are simply placing the matter of choice aside, waiting to face it at a more fitting time in the future. What is striking here is that when I drew the oracle card, the message became even clearer. The oracle is emphasizing that within this relationship, both of you are indeed receiving things of value. This person feels that even though the relationship has not progressed in the way you hope, there are still precious aspects being nurtured. There is still presence, warmth, and a sense of connection that they recognize and cherish. They want to continue to value these things, to savor the blessings that are present within this bond right now. So, it is clear that there is a misalignment between the two of you. It is not that this person does not want the relationship to move forward or does not wish to see it develop. No, absolutely not. Rather, at this particular time, within them there exists another priority, something they feel they must devote their whole focus to achieving. For them, you are still important, still a part of their life, and they want to maintain this connection. But alongside that, they feel compelled to pour their dedication into a greater goal, the larger vision they are pursuing in this phase of their journey. Meanwhile, on your side, I feel with great clarity that the greatest, most pressing desire in your heart right now is for this relationship to grow, to move forward, to evolve into something more defined and secure. You long to see clarity, to witness a step taken, to have a clear shape form for the love between you and them. And it is this very difference in focus, you placing love at the top of your priorities, while they are directing all their energy toward work and career, that has created the misalignment, the sense of imbalance and unease within the connection. What I see here is very clear. You are feeling dissatisfaction, a deep discomfort, because it seems to you that this person is too content with the way things are, too at ease with the current state of the relationship, and shows no real intention of pushing it further, of actively moving it to the next stage. Within you, there is a rising feeling of insufficiency, of not being fulfilled. You long for progress, for change, for a visible step forward, yet what you see in them is acceptance, calm, a quiet satisfaction with what already exists. And that leaves you disappointed, leaves you feeling as though you are carrying the yearning to move forward all on your own. And yet, when seen from their side, the story is not at all the way you imagine it to be. This person does not feel dissatisfaction with the relationship as it is now. On the contrary, they perceive within this connection many beautiful things, many values they hold dear. For them, even without taking another step forward, the bond between you in its current state is already something precious, something worth preserving. They feel happiness, they feel contentment with what exists, and they recognize that from this relationship they have already received much that is wonderful. This does not mean they do not want progress, nor that they are unwilling to look toward the future. Not at all. They are not denying the possibility of growth, nor are they rejecting the idea of a different future together. But at this time, through their eyes, The present already holds so much fullness, so many things worth cherishing, and they choose to focus on that rather than dwell on what is lacking. On the other hand, within you emerges the energy of a powerful urge to change, to develop, to propel the relationship into something further. It is precisely because this longing burns so strongly within you that, in your perspective, the current state becomes imperfect, becomes insufficient. You are so focused on what has not yet been achieved, on what you wish for in the future, that you may overlook the truth that in the present moment, between you and them, there are already many values worth acknowledging, worth savoring, and worth embracing. This spread reveals something quite subtle. This person may be feeling that you have overlooked, or perhaps failed to notice, the beautiful things, the spiritual gifts that the relationship as it currently stands is already offering. They sense that your eyes are fixed only on what lies ahead, on the goals not yet achieved, on the visions of what could be, while forgetting that right here, in the present moment, this connection has already given both you and them many treasures, many meaningful moments. On your side, the image is vividly clear. You are standing on a path with your gaze fixed firmly on the distant destination, the place where you long for love to take on a clear form, where you crave a secure future. But this person is gently reminding you that along the stretch of road you are walking now, there are still flowers blooming, there are still small joys, spiritual values, little gifts of the heart that both of you have been receiving and nurturing together. And they wish for you to see that, to pause just for a moment and recognize that even within this present state, imperfect as it may be, the love between you still holds many things worth cherishing. I feel this message very strongly. From deep within their heart, this person is perhaps hoping that you could give a little attention, a little recognition, to the wonders that this present connection is bringing to both of you. They want you to realize that even though the relationship has not yet advanced to the stage you dream of, here and now it still carries so many values, so many beautiful things that you have built together. And for that reason, in their eyes, the current state is not at all a failed or hopeless relationship, but on the contrary, it is a bond that continues to offer much that is precious. They are receiving deeply from this connection, and their message is clear. They truly cherish it. Now, to shed more light, let us open the next part. How do you perceive this person at this present moment? As the cards were turned over, the energy emerged with great intensity. The very first card that revealed itself was the Three of Swords, followed by the Page of Pentacles, and then the Wheel of Fortune. A sequence of cards that carries both challenge and the promise of transformation. To clarify the Three of Swords, I drew another card, and it was the Emperor. And finally, I also pulled one oracle card to complete the energy of this picture. As I read through this sequence to understand from your perspective how you are currently feeling about this person, something stands out very clearly. You are sensing a certain distance, a gap that seems to have formed between you. For some of you, it may feel as though this person has become harder to reach, harder to grasp, or perhaps they appear to be standing in a different place, on a level apart, where you cannot fully touch them. For those of you who are in an established relationship, there are moments when you feel you are not truly as close to their heart as you would wish to be. For others in more complicated situations, love entangled with many turns, many constraints, the sense of distance becomes even more apparent. And for those who are not officially in a relationship but share intimacy, closeness, or a special bond, the feeling is as though you care deeply, yet you do not know exactly where this person stands within their own inner world. Across all these scenarios, the one thing that rises most clearly is this. You truly hold this person in high regard. You treasure them as someone of great importance in your heart. The Three of Swords paired with the Emperor shows that even if you may feel hurt at times, even if you sometimes feel loneliness within this connection, you still place this person in a very elevated position. They appear in your eyes as a figure of authority, strength, and stability, someone not easily swayed, and that makes you both admire them and, at times, feel a sense of distance from them. The Wheel of Fortune reveals that, in your heart, this person feels like part of destiny's turning, as though their presence in your life brings profound meaning, a significant shift, a transformative impact that you simply cannot deny. From your perspective, this person is someone deeply precious, someone truly important, a person for whom you hold a profound affection and immeasurable respect. Yet at the same time, within you lingers the quiet awareness of a distance that still exists between you both, a distance that at times feels vast, elusive, and difficult to bridge. There are moments when their presence seems too far away, too unpredictable, leaving you to carry a silent sorrow in your heart. And still, despite that quiet ache, you cannot stop treasuring them, cannot stop reserving for them a place of rare value within your soul. In your heart, this person is always number one. Yes, you see them as the most important, the one you place above all else, the one you cherish and protect with the utmost sincerity and seriousness in your being. However, when you turn to the other side of this connection, you cannot help but feel that they do not place you in that same sacred position. While you give them absolute priority, they do not give you the feeling that you are their top priority in return. And that realization hurts you deeply, because even though you have poured out your love, given all of your heart and strength, you sense that what you offer is not being met with equal devotion. It feels as though the greater your love becomes, the colder or more distant their response seems, or at the very least, it is never fully aligned with the depth of what you give. You also feel that even when you are wounded, even when your heart is aching and marked by scars, this person does not notice. They do not see the sadness within you. They do not recognize the subtle injuries that weigh on your spirit. At times, it is as if they are entirely oblivious, entirely unconcerned. While your whole mind and heart are centered on them, their energy seems to be devoted elsewhere, poured wholly into their work, their career, the role they are striving so earnestly to build for themselves. You can clearly see the fire within them, their ambition, their determination, their shining drive in the field they pursue, and paradoxically, this very brilliance of theirs only widens the distance between you. When you look inward, you find yourself wounded, longing for recognition, yearning for even the smallest gesture of understanding. But when you turn your gaze toward them, what you see is a strong figure, filled with resolve, brimming with willpower for their goals and achievements. And so this gap, this imbalance between your aching need and their relentless pursuit, becomes a cut within your heart, a line of separation that makes them feel far away, unreachable, no longer as close as you wish them to be. Inside your heart, the questions echo endlessly, circling again and again with no answer in sight. How long will it take before I am truly reciprocated? How long will it take before this person can finally place me at the number one position in their life? How long will it take before the love I have poured out so fully, so sincerely, will at last be repaid? You yearn for that return, for the day when they will finally turn their eyes toward you, when they will recognize you, when they will place you where you have always placed them. And yet, what you feel right now is nothing but a deep lack, a draining emptiness, the fatigue of waiting, the exhaustion of giving without receiving. And here, the spread speaks of something even more profound, something essential. The oracle cards reveal a truth that cannot be overlooked. The image of happiness within you has grown too narrow, too constrained, bound tightly to one rigid frame. It is as though, in your heart, happiness can only exist if they place you at the very top, if they return your feelings exactly in the way you expect. Yet the truth is, happiness comes in many forms. It wears countless colors and takes on countless shapes. The reading urges you to see that you are restricting your own definition of happiness into a rigid formula, and this very rigidity is what magnifies your sense of loss, what makes your wounds feel even sharper and more unbearable. Thus, the energy of this reading shows that yes, you love them deeply, you see them as everything, but it is precisely because of this intensity that you are placing heavy expectations upon them. And when those expectations are not fulfilled exactly as you have envisioned, what comes is disappointment, a painful sense of distance, the aching feeling that your happiness is never complete, never whole. What I want to share here is only an illustration, a way to help you recognize the patterns at play, not a rigid judgment. So I ask you to listen to it as a metaphor, as an image. When I speak of limitation in your view of love, for example, imagine someone who believes that unless love culminates in marriage, it cannot be called true happiness. There are many people who carry such a belief, that unless two souls walk together into marriage, the love is incomplete, unworthy, without real meaning. They place marriage at the very peak of fulfillment, the sole summit of happiness, and anything short of it becomes blurred, dim, stripped of value or dream. Or consider those who think that happiness can only exist when a relationship becomes official, public, clearly defined as a couple. To them, every other stage, every silent bond, every private connection, every undefined yet tender space is stripped of meaning, left with no worth at all. And so the spread is showing you, through these images, that perhaps you too are confining yourself within such rigid frameworks. You are allowing happiness to be defined only through a single condition, a single mold, and when that mold is not met, your heart feels deprived. This message comes not to deny your longing, but to open the door for you to realize that happiness can flow in many different streams. It can arrive in forms you have not yet allowed yourself to embrace. But the truth is that in today's world, the form of love, the form of connection between two souls, has become far more diverse and multifaceted than ever before. There are couples who regard one another as lifelong partners, seeing each other as true soulmates, companions destined to walk hand in hand until the end of their days, and yet they do not choose to mark that bond with a marriage certificate or a ceremonial wedding. Increasingly, people are stepping away from the weight of societal molds, choosing instead to define love in their own way, in a way that belongs uniquely to them as two individuals. For them, a relationship can be whole, can be rich with meaning and fulfillment, without necessarily resting upon the framework of traditional marriage. And this in itself reflects the diversity of values and the evolving definitions of happiness that our society is increasingly embracing and affirming. Yet, the card also reveals that there remain prejudices, rigid belief structures, deeply ingrained notions that persist within the collective consciousness. These rigid molds are what sometimes prevent people from truly experiencing happiness because they continue to tie joy to specific conditions, to fixed checkpoints. They think, unless I have this, unless this exact thing happens, then I can never feel complete, never feel true joy. And it is precisely this binding, this self-imposed condition, that causes them to slip so easily into feelings of lack, of dissatisfaction, of emptiness. Within your own story, it seems that such a gap in perception exists between you and the other person. On your side, perhaps you have already been wounded, you have drawn inward, you have retreated into yourself with a tendency toward closed-off thoughts, leaning into negative reflections. You have set expectations, you have shaped certain molds of what love must look like, and when reality does not align with these frameworks, you fall easily into disappointment, into heartache. But on the other side, the person you care about carries no such weight. They seem not to feel bound, not to be constrained, and they show no signs of being hurt in the way you are. On the contrary, they appear to be in a place of steadiness, of comfort, even radiating with vibrant, positive energy. This person wants to devote themselves to their work, to their self-growth, and overall, they seem to be flowing in a rhythm of life that is healthy, strong, and filled with momentum. So while you may be feeling unsteady, easily swayed by sorrow or the lingering ache of emotional wounds, the other person does not seem to be caught in that same state. They appear to remain lighthearted, at ease, even uplifted and excited by the rhythm of their current life. And this is precisely the misalignment in energy and perception between the two of you that the cards are pointing out. The message coming forth here is that from your side, you often feel as though you are the one who is hurt more, the one who suffers the greater pain, the one who carries more scars. At times, you may even think that you are not being cherished by them, not being placed in the place of importance you long for. And it is these very thoughts, these beliefs and feelings that create a distance, that pull you and this person into a state of dissonance, out of harmony with each other. The cards are highlighting clearly that this gap, this imbalance, truly exists between you both. Now let us move into the core of this reading, into the very heart of the question at hand. What does this person, deep within, truly think of you? The very first card to appear is the Lovers. This is such a profoundly powerful card. You see, even though there are differences, even though there is distance, even though there are places where you and they do not fully align, the Lovers makes it absolutely clear that none of this means they do not love you, that none of this means they do not care for you. On the contrary, they feel deeply for you. They sense the preciousness of what you bring. They draw from you warmth, healing, and positive energy. They see clearly that you are someone who gives them value, who offers them comfort and light, and there is no rejection of you in their heart at all. Following this, the spread reveals the Chariot, the Five of Wands, and the Six of Pentacles. And finally, from the Oracle deck, the card Pathway emerges. Altogether, what an extraordinary constellation of cards, Lovers, Chariot, Five of Wands, Six of Pentacles, and Pathway, appearing together as though to press upon you the essential, undeniable core of the message here. Each of these cards, with its own unique vibration, is weaving into a larger narrative, forming a tapestry that is rich, layered, and filled with meaning, asking you to look deeper and recognize what truly lies beneath the surface of your connection. The Lovers together with the Chariot reveal that deep within their heart, this person has always placed you firmly upon the path of their life's journey. They see you as a companion, as someone who walks alongside them, as a presence they cannot imagine being without. Especially if the two of you are currently in an established relationship, this person holds no thoughts of leaving, no intention of breaking away or letting go. Quite the opposite, they feel, almost as naturally as breathing, that the two of you will continue to move forward together, shoulder to shoulder, advancing step by step along the same road. And yet, what they do not fully understand is why you carry so much anxiety, why you seem to hold so much unease within your heart. It is as though they wish to send you a message, whispering, "Why do you worry so much? Why do you fear, when I have always been here, when I have always believed that we are walking the same path?" The appearance of the Five of Wands reflects the friction, the collisions of thought and perspective, the differences in outlook that can easily spark arguments or leave one or both of you feeling unheard, unacknowledged, unseen. But immediately following this, the Six of Pentacles arrives to soften that tension. It brings forward the image of give and take, of balance in the flow of affection, giving, receiving, sharing. In this, the message is clear. This person sees and appreciates the value they receive from you, and in turn, they also hold the desire to give back to you, to offer care, to share themselves in return. Finally, the Oracle card pathway emerges as a resounding affirmation. The road ahead for the two of you is still open, stretching long, filled with opportunities and possibility. They have no intention of veering away, no thought of choosing a different turn. Their desire remains steadfast. They want to walk with you upon the path already chosen, to continue building a future in companionship with you. To them, your presence alongside them is something certain, something unquestionable, as natural as breath itself. And what puzzles them most is not whether you belong in their journey, for in their heart you already do. It is only why you are so restless, why you doubt, when in truth, you are already an undeniable, irreplaceable part of their path forward. It may very well be that this person, in some way, has been the very source of your unease, the root of your anxieties. Perhaps without realizing it, they have sown seeds of doubt within you, leaving spaces that feel like gaps, like emptiness. And yet, even though there is a possibility that it is their actions or their manner that has brought about these feelings, the energy they carry shows so clearly that they never intended for you to fall into such a state. They do not want you to worry. They do not want you to feel insecure. For in their heart, they believe there are things that do not need to be spoken, things that are so self-evident that words become unnecessary. To them, the fact that the two of you will walk the road of life together, that you will remain companions side by side, always moving forward as one, that is a truth so natural, so unquestionable, that it needs no proof, no explanation. And it is precisely here, within this difference, that the gap arises, the disparity in how you and they experience life, in how you and they perceive love. They speak in this way not out of disregard, not from any intention to belittle or to hurt you, but simply because of their nature, the way they feel and understand things in their own effortless, unspoken manner. Within their heart, they are continually affirming, "We will walk this path together until the end. We will always remain side by side, always moving forward, the two of us as one." This is the powerful message they wish to send you. If you and this person are already in a relationship, this truth is even more pronounced. Their vision of the future is one in which you remain bound together, where your connection continues without question. And if, at this moment, you and they are not yet officially a couple, even then, within their mind, the thought of becoming your partner is already present. It has already entered their vision. It has already been considered with seriousness. They have thought of the possibility of the two of you as lovers, and it is not something distant or out of reach, but rather something that lies well within the horizon of their intentions. However, at this moment, another reality also comes into view. This person seems to be carrying within them an ambition, a vision, a burning flame of desire that compels them to pour their entire heart and energy into their work, into their personal goals, into the pathway of their career. Because of this, they feel a strong need to prioritize, to place that pursuit at the forefront for now. In their mind, if they were to begin an official relationship with you at this moment, they fear they would not be able to give you the time, the presence, the wholehearted attention you deserve, and that imbalance could cause pain for both of you. So instead, they want to follow a certain order, a certain rhythm. First, to give their all to their career, to the dream they are burning to achieve, and then, when that is complete, to turn their entire focus to you. In their eyes, love with you remains a path they fully intend to walk. It is obvious, unquestionable, but they want to move forward step by step, carefully, steadily, without rushing, without creating disappointment by offering you something incomplete. And truly, in life, Each of us will encounter phases like this, periods when we must devote ourselves entirely to a dream, to a passion, to an ambition that demands all of our strength. Right now, they're in such a phase. But what matters most is that they do not see you as something being postponed, as an option being set aside. Quite the contrary. They believe this relationship will grow, will deepen, will unfold, only at a different pace, to the rhythm of time that life has chosen. And here, the Oracle card Pathway appears to reinforce this very message. Pathway tells us, the road the two of you are traveling may not be straight, may not unfold in the exact line you are hoping for. It may curve, it may wind, it may bend in ways that make you feel uncertain, make you anxious, because you cannot see the destination clearly right before your eyes. And yet, this card affirms with quiet certainty, no matter how winding the road, no matter how many turns it takes, in the end you and this person will reach your destination. That destination is the bond itself, the shared goal you both hold in your hearts, the place where this love will crystallize into something profound, enduring, and strong. Deep within, they hold the faith that you and they will walk to the very end together, that you will arrive at that destination side by side, hand in hand, unshaken in your union. So even though right now they are pouring so much of themselves into their work, into their personal ideals and ambitions, deep within their soul they still hold firmly to the belief and the desire that you are the one who will walk with them to the very end of the road, to that destination both of you long for. The card is making this truth very clear to me. It shows that you, in your heart, always want to move straight toward the finish line, always want to move quickly, decisively, to reach the goal you are yearning for. You are restless, you are longing, you want to know now, you want to see results, you want to know precisely when the two of you will finally arrive at that ultimate point. The energy that rises from you feels like that of someone in a great hurry, impatient, almost anxious to leap forward, unable to wait, wanting to touch that fulfillment immediately, wanting to know. When? How soon? At what moment will we finally arrive? For some of you, this relationship may have already stretched over a long period of time, having passed through many stages, many months or even years, and precisely because of this long journey, a kind of impatience begins to stir within you. An urgency that turns into restlessness, making you keep asking yourself, when? How long? At what point will it finally happen? But for them, it is different. Their energy is calmer, steadier, more grounded. They are thinking, we are already on this path together, we are already moving forward, and surely we will become one, or if we already are a couple, then surely we will continue walking side by side, reaching the destination we both desire. In their heart, it is already determined, already clear, that the two of you will reach that end point, that you will achieve together the ultimate goal of this bond. No matter how much time it may take, no matter how winding the journey may become, in their eyes, you and they will without doubt arrive there together. And the card further reveals that even when the energies between you do not align perfectly, when one of you wants to rush ahead, to leap forward without hesitation, while the other feels the need for more time, needing to focus on other matters, on personal goals or things that must be completed first, this difference does not shake them. They are not swayed by the imbalance. They continue to hold the faith that despite this difference, despite this misalignment, you and they will still move forward, still advance together toward the future, until the day you both reach the place you are destined to arrive. What stands out most here is the message that this person is sending to you. It is as if they are saying, it may sound a little too confident, perhaps even a bit arrogant, but the truth is that what you can receive, you can only receive from me. No one else can give that to you. At first glance, this might sound as though they are placing themselves above you, as if they are offering from a higher ground, bestowing something downward. But in reality, it is not like that at all. They carry no intention of belittling you, no thought of elevating themselves above you. On the contrary, in their heart there exists a very clear sense of balance and fairness, just as it is for you. So it is for them, only within this relationship can they receive what they truly need. There are values, there are emotions, there are spiritual gifts that no one but you can bring into their life. And so, from deep within, they have already realized something essential. In this love, you and they are irreplaceable to each other. What you need, only they can offer. And what they long for, only you can give. Because of this, despite the differences, despite the misalignment at times, your impatience against their calmer pace, the truth remains that neither of you can replace the other. The affirmation they are making is this: we can only be whole when we are us. Without you, I am not complete. Without me, you two cannot be fulfilled. The card is showing me with great clarity that even if at times there are clashes between you, even if at times your paths seem to veer off, even if for a moment you are not perfectly aligned, the core truth does not change. Only you and this person can give each other these things. Only the two of you are the complete halves of one another. And what they are quietly whispering is, you know this too, don't you? You understand that in the end, only we can walk this path to the very end together. The card emphasizes that in their mind, they are always holding to the vision of the two of you reaching the destination, touching the shared goal, arriving at the place toward which this love is heading. They are letting you know that they truly intend to reach that destination with you, that they have no thought, no intention of abandoning this journey midway. That is why this card wants you to ease your worries, to release some of that unease within. Do not let those nameless fears, those empty spaces in your heart, keep tormenting you. Instead, I want you to try looking back, to place more attention on what you have already received and are still receiving from this relationship. Think of those moments when this person showed care for you, when they brought you warmth, even in the smallest of ways. For example, when the two of you were still in contact, if you simply said you were tired or not feeling well, this person would immediately ask with concern, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" Those small gestures, those gentle attentions, are also things worth treasuring. This person still gives you their care, even if at times it does not appear in the exact form you hoped for. And even when you feel that they are not directly doing something obvious for you, notice that from this relationship itself, from this connection, you are still receiving something, some value. It may be the sense of reassurance that comes from knowing they are still present in your life, or perhaps a kind of motivation, a form of affection that keeps your heart stirred and alive. The card wants to remind you not to only fixate on what you don't yet have, on what you haven't received. Because when your eyes focus only on what is missing, you will feel disappointed, you will easily fall into sadness and dissatisfaction. You will find yourself thinking, I don't have this, I don't have that. This person doesn't give me this, doesn't do that for me. And those comparisons, especially when you look around and see other couples, will only deepen your sorrow. You may think others, when in love, are cared for in this way, in that way, yet I am not. Or you may find yourself asking, people don't need to ask for much. Just stepping into a relationship and their partner already takes the initiative, already acts with devotion. But with me, why is it not the same? Why does it feel so different? All of that sadness stems from the fact that you keep focusing only on what is missing, on what has not yet been given, instead of cherishing the small things that you have already received. The card reminds you that it is precisely this balanced way of perceiving that will ease your sorrow and allow you to truly see the genuine value of this relationship. What the card is pointing out here is that it seems you have often fallen into the habit of continuously staring at the things you have not received from this person. You keep dwelling on thoughts like, why don't they do this for me? Why don't they care for me in that way? And then your heart gets pulled deeper into comparisons with those around you. You look at other couples and think, they are cared for in this way, loved in that way, while I have none of that. And it is exactly that mindset which makes you feel disappointed, makes you feel deprived. Yet the message of this reading is crystal clear. There are definitely still things you have been and are receiving from them. You simply haven't been placing enough attention on those things. When you shift your perspective, when you make the effort to turn your eyes toward what you truly have right now, you will begin to recognize the values this person has already brought into your life, even if they appear small, quiet, subtle. It may be just a message of concern when you say you're tired. It may be a simple question of care, a presence at the right moment, or simply the calm reassurance that comes from knowing they are still there by your side. And once you allow yourself to see those things, a deep sense of gratitude will awaken within you. You may find yourself smiling softly, whispering in your heart, thank you for being here, thank you for giving me these things. And it is this very gratitude, once nurtured, that will alter the flow of energy between you, making everything feel lighter, smoother, more harmonious. The card advises you, try shifting your perspective, try focusing on what is already present instead of endlessly chasing after what is not yet there, and you will witness a clear transformation in this relationship. And then, when I drew a card asking for guidance meant especially for you, the card that appeared was the pocket watch. This card carries a message that is both clear and undeniable. Time will resolve everything. Time is the essential element in this story, the invisible current weaving through all that you are experiencing right now. But I deeply understand, when someone is in pain, when they are drowning in turmoil, consumed by sorrow and inner conflict, the advice to let time heal can sometimes feel like the hardest thing to hear. Because it makes you feel as though you must wait even longer, endure even more, bear the heaviness a while further. It stirs a resistance inside you, a voice that protests. I know, of course I know that time will pass, but why must I be the one who has to wait so long? Why must I be the one forced to carry this weight through the endless days? And that is why this card is often one of the most difficult messages to accept, one of the ones that easily stirs defiance and resistance within the heart. Yet the very fact that the pocket watch has revealed itself here is a sign you cannot ignore. It is telling you that you're indeed in a phase where time is not just a background element, it is an absolute necessity. Even if it makes you uncomfortable to hear it, even if part of you wants to push back, to deny, the truth remains, time is the current moving you forward. It flows steadily, drop by drop, moment by moment, building, layering, accumulating, and in that flow, clarity begins to form. Time never stands still. It is alive. It is in motion with every second, every minute, every day. And within that constant motion, wounds begin to knit themselves closed. The heart begins to open again, and the answers you long for start slowly emerging, like dawn after the darkest night. So, even if you dislike it, even if your spirit bristles against it, this card gently but firmly tells you, be patient. For it is time itself that is the true medicine in this moment. It is time that will bring healing, time that will soften the pain, time that will carry you to the release, the clarity, the freedom you are seeking. And then, as time keeps flowing, you will come to realize something profound. At a certain moment, it is precisely the passage of time itself that grants you release, that gently unravels a knot which once felt impossibly tangled. There may have been a point when you believed you could never escape that endless cycle, that suffocating loop of emotions and thoughts. Yet as the years and months slowly accumulate, your perspective begins to shift. The vision that was once confined, locked tightly within the walls of negativity, gradually widens, little by little. When you reach a different point in time and glance back at the very things that once brought you such deep sorrow, you may suddenly exhale and realize, so it wasn't as serious as I had thought. In truth, it was never as terrifying as it felt. Every one of us has had that experience. When we look back on something after a distance of time, it no longer carries the weight it once did at the beginning. That very moment of realization teaches us a truth. Indeed, there are certain matters that can only be resolved when time has passed, and that is an undeniable reality. Therefore, the message of this card is clear. Right now, you truly need the assistance of time. Perhaps you are too impatient, too restless, yearning desperately for everything to have an answer immediately. Perhaps your heart is overflowing with pain, with suffocation so intense that you want nothing more than to break free of it this instant. You whisper to yourself, I cannot bear this anymore. I have to escape right now. I cannot endure even a single second longer. And because of this inner desperation, without realizing it, you place expectations, heavy burdens onto the shoulders of this person, hoping that they will do something, anything, immediately, to pull you out of this feeling, to deliver you from this heaviness. But what the card wants to tell you is this. When a person is in deep suffering, the impulse to want to run away is a very natural reaction. Everyone has those moments. However, if you allow yourself to depend entirely on someone else, hoping they will be the one to bring you an escape, then you are trapping yourself within the endless circle of waiting. Because if that person does not act, if they do not change, if they do not respond in the way you hope, then the pain will still remain, and you will never be free from it. The longer you wait, the more imprisoned you become within your own suffering. But the truth is different. In reality, you do not necessarily have to wait for that person. You do not need to rely completely on them in order to find release. What you truly seek is not an instant escape at any cost, but rather a way to ease the suffocation, to soften the heaviness in the present moment. And the quickest way, the most active and empowering way, is for you to give yourself what you need. It is you, and only you, who can lift yourself out of that exhausting loop. And you can begin right now, from the smallest things, from the little actions already within your reach. No waiting, no postponing, no depending on another. The card advises that if you are willing to open your heart to receive this message, then try whispering gently to yourself, what I need is time. I need to give myself a pause, a space, a quiet moment, so that time can do its work. When you accept that what is needed is time, rather than forcing yourself to solve everything immediately, you will feel less impatient, less frantic. You will no longer torment yourself with endless questions like, why not yet? When will it end? How much longer must I endure? Instead, you will allow yourself to flow along with the current of time, letting each day, each passing moment, gradually reorder and reshape things. And it is precisely in that surrender, precisely in that softening, that you will begin to see that time has never abandoned you at all. It has been silently healing you all along, slowly, gently, yet steadily and enduringly. Because time will eventually resolve everything if you can allow yourself to loosen just a little, to gently release the burdens weighing on your mind, then even that alone can shift the emotions within you. When you whisper to yourself, "Yes, time will take care of this. I don't need to hold on so tightly. I don't need to stay this tense," then your state of being will begin to change. You will feel lighter, easier to breathe, less suffocated. And soon you will realize that this very act of softening has created a peaceful space within your heart, an inner sanctuary where calm can settle. And now I want to emphasize once more the outcome, the most important truth that this card is showing you. It is this. This person truly is thinking about staying with you, walking alongside you through the long road ahead. Despite the differences, despite the gap in how each of you feels and expresses emotions, deep in their heart, the intention to remain by your side is certain. The card makes it undeniably clear. This person wants to be with you for the long term. What causes your suffering, what pulls you apart inside, is the misalignment between the two energies at play. On your side, you feel weighed down by worries, your heart bruised and restless, filled constantly with questions. Where is this headed? Does this relationship have a future? Will it last? You feel yourself yearning, longing for comfort, for reassurance, while the energy radiating from them is so very different. They appear calm, strong, untroubled, always seeming full of vitality, exuding resilience. And it is exactly this contrast that makes you believe. They don't know my heart. They don't see the anxieties I carry within. But if you try, even for a moment, to place yourself in their position, to view things from their perspective, you will see the story in another light. In truth, they care deeply for you. They want to be with you. They believe in the bond lasting far into the future. It is only that right now, they have certain personal matters they want to focus on, some individual goals, some ambitions they are reaching toward. Yet, despite being busy, not once has it crossed their mind to walk away from you. And so, if you were to say to them, "You don't value me, you don't make me a priority," they would be taken aback, even saddened. Inside their heart, a voice would cry out, "No, that's not true. Don't you see? How can I make you understand that I have always wanted to journey beside you, that I have always kept you in my heart?" And this, right here, is the difference in the way love is expressed. Each person has their own way of showing affection. Some prefer to speak tender words, some like to hold, to embrace, to soothe with touch. Others, instead, express love through their actions, through trust, through the steady strength they embody. It may be that the way this person loves, the way they express their feelings, does not directly reach into the exact longing of your heart at this moment. Perhaps what you crave is careful attention, is gentle reassurance, is the feeling of being cared for, nurtured, held, and protected. And, because you do not perceive that in the way you wish, disappointment rises within you. But the card affirms that this person still places profound trust in you. They truly see you as someone with great allure, someone who radiates a grounded, steady presence. In their eyes, you possess an undeniable magnetism, a confidence, a calmness infused with pride and dignity. And it is precisely this that reassures them, that makes them believe, with certainty, that this relationship has the strength to go far. They look at you and think that you are a soul brimming with curiosity, with an endless thirst to test your own limits, someone who is always willing to step into new experiences. They see in you a strong inner power, the ability to discover life on your own terms, and to savor it fully. In their eyes, you are someone who knows how to live wholeheartedly, who knows how to cherish every fleeting moment of existence. And even though right now you may be feeling weary, as though your energy is fading, as though your spark has dimmed, deep within them they still hold the belief that your true essence is that of a vibrant being, full of longing, full of daring, always ready to plunge into life's challenges with passion and vitality. And it is precisely because they believe in this that deep within their heart they continue to hold a powerful faith that you will find your energy again, that you will rise once more, that you will restore your spirit and strength. They hope that you will grant yourself the space, the time needed to recalibrate, to rebalance yourself, so that once again you can move forward, turning your gaze toward the future you both share. In their eyes, you are not the kind of person who simply sits still, surrenders, and waits for someone else to come and lift you up. They believe, wholeheartedly, that you are someone fully capable of rebirth, of self-healing, of standing on your own and walking forward again. And they wish to accompany you on that path, to share those moments with you, but not in a way that requires you to depend on them completely. They feel very clearly that you, too, possess the strength to nurture and to reconstruct yourself. And so, perhaps what is most needed right now is simply a little more time. Time for you to breathe, to find your rhythm again, to rebuild for yourself a firmer, steadier foundation. And once you manage that, the road ahead for the two of you will once again become illuminated, filled with promise, shining with hope and possibility. Therefore, this card conveys, do not be too distressed if at this moment you feel yourself weakening, if you sense that your energy is not yet enough. This person has never ceased to trust in the strength within you, never doubted that you are capable of standing tall once more, capable of renewal. And when you do, you will step with them into the future with more power and confidence than ever before. I will now bring this reading for those of you who chose pile 1 to a close. If there was anything in this reading that caused your heart to stir, even the slightest resonance, I invite you to leave a note, even if it is just a small symbol, to let me know that the message truly reached you. I always cherish and look forward to your sharing, because it is that exchange which makes this journey more meaningful than words can describe. Do not forget to press like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Your companionship is a precious gift to my spirit, the very motivation that allows me to continue offering readings that are heartfelt, profound, and capable of touching the soul. May you always have enough peace to hear the voice of your inner self and enough courage to step toward what is truly worthy of you. Until we meet again in the next readings. Hello to those of you who chose pile 2. Thank you for waiting. Now, I will begin the reading prepared for those who were drawn to this second pile. My hope is that this reading will bring you healing, fresh insights, and moments filled with love and gentleness. With the theme being, what does your person truly think about you? Let us begin. First, I will look into the state of this person at present, the one you are thinking of, what energy they are carrying, and what the cards are revealing about their inner world. The first card that appeared is Justice, followed by the 4 of Cups, and then the King of Wands. The supporting cards are the 3 of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, the 3 of Cups, and the 2 of Swords. Finally, from the Oracle deck, I received the Teacup. Together, this spread forms a story layered with depth, revealing many nuances about their state of being. The very first energy that comes through strongly is that of a person who is trying to avoid reality, someone who wishes, even if just for a moment, to escape, to step away from the circumstances or emotions that feel too heavy to carry. The presence of the 3 of Swords speaks clearly. Deep within, they are carrying a significant wound, a heartbreak, one that may very well be connected to their past, a painful emotional experience that left lasting scars. And it is precisely this wound that awakens in them a constant fear. I do not want to repeat that again. Inside, their heart echoes again and again with the same refrain. I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want to be hurt one more time. And I certainly don't want to bring pain to anyone else because of me. This fear, this echo of old wounds, becomes a lens through which they now perceive relationships, shaping how they respond, how they hold back, how they try to shield themselves from repeating what once broke them. And this is where the story of their energy begins to unfold. At a deeper layer, I sense that this person is not only afraid of being hurt, but also carries a burden of guilt from having, perhaps unintentionally, caused someone else pain in the past. It could have been through an action, a word, or a choice they made that left another person wounded, and in doing so, they themselves were wounded as well. It is as if they carry within their heart an imprint, a scar of regret that whispers, if only I hadn't done that, perhaps things would have turned out differently. Because of this, they have become cautious, hesitant, even fearful when it comes to love, when it comes to opening their heart once again. The appearance of the Justice card reveals that, at the level of awareness, they know very well that they must make the right decisions, that they need to live in fairness and clarity, that they must choose what is just, what is aligned with truth. Yet, alongside it is the 2 of Swords, a card that symbolizes hesitation, indecision, being caught in the tension between 2 paths. This shows that while they understand clearly that action and a choice are required, within them lingers the gripping fear of repeating past mistakes, the haunting dread of reliving old pain. Here we also see the 4 of Cups paired with the 3 of Swords, which reveals their tendency to withdraw, to put up barriers, to lock their heart away, resisting new opportunities. It suggests a sense of weariness, of apathy, of lacking desire or motivation. Yet, in contrast, the presence of the King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles shows that within them resides a powerful core, the ability to take control, to envision, to attract, to create stability and strength. This means that although their inner world is marked by wounds and insecurity, the essence of who they are is not weak. They have the ability to rise, to reclaim their power, to master their circumstances, yet right now they remain restrained, held back by the shadows of the past. The Three of Cups also emerges here, signifying that despite their inner battles, deep within, this person still longs for connection, for joy, for the warmth of shared moments with others. They still yearn for happiness, still desire to live openly, still wish to belong, to celebrate, to feel the embrace of companionship. It is just that at this moment, the weight of their wounds prevents them from stepping fully into that space. Their heart wants to reach outward, but their fear keeps them lingering at the threshold. And finally, the Oracle card Teacup has appeared, as if to whisper a message. This person is in great need of a pause, of a small, quiet space in which to calm their spirit, to rearrange their emotions, to be comforted, to allow themselves to heal in silence. The teacup is a symbol of relaxation, of loosening the weight carried within, of recovery and renewal. They need rest, both mentally and emotionally. Taken as a whole, this reading paints the image of someone carrying many scars from the past, someone who fears being hurt again, yet at the same time is haunted by guilt for once having caused pain to another. They yearn for fairness. They want to do what is right, but they remain hesitant, lacking the inner strength at this moment to make a decisive choice. They retreat, they avoid, they shield themselves, yet at the same time, within them still burns the longing for connection, for joy, for shared warmth. What they truly need is more time, time to heal, time to rebuild their confidence in love, time to open their heart once more. Deep down, this person truly wishes to choose the right path, to act in alignment with what they believe to be just and fair. But the difficulty is that, right now, they cannot discern what right truly is. They are caught in a haze, unable to make a clear decision. The truth that their heart feels is sometimes in direct conflict with what society demands, with external rules, standards, or the judgment of others. It is this very discord that throws them into inner chaos, leaving them inconsistent, wavering, and indecisive. Within their heart, the same fear echoes endlessly. I do not want to endure that pain again, not ever. And alongside this fear is another deep yearning, the desire to reclaim their authentic self, to return to who they truly are, to live in alignment with their own essence rather than endlessly bearing the weight of judgment placed upon their shoulders. At this core lies both their struggle and their hope, to shed the burdens of old wounds and outside expectations, so that they may finally live, love, and choose freely as their true self. And yet, the more they think, the more exhausted they become. Because the deeper they dig into the question of what is right, the more drained their mind feels. They see themselves caught in a loop. They must choose the right path, yet they cannot clearly define what right even means. They must act, yet they cannot discern which action will truly lead them to peace. This inner struggle wears them down to the point where they no longer wish to think, where they simply want to avoid, to let everything dissolve for a fleeting moment. At times, they wish they could escape the burden of thought itself, escape the responsibility of making a choice, because it is the very act of thinking that has consumed their spirit. The card reveals clearly that they are in a state of wanting to turn away from reality, not because they don't care, but because their mind is weary, because they have carried too much pressure, because clarity has slipped away from them. Deep inside, they know there is something that must be decided, an answer that must be given, but at this moment, they are delaying, consciously avoiding, giving themselves space to rest. Like someone who is utterly drained, they simply do not want to face it any longer. And now, the reading shifts into another dimension. This is their current impression of you, the image of you that lives in their mind at this moment. The first card that appeared is the Nine of Swords, followed by the Seven of Pentacles, then the Seven of Cups, and to clarify the energy of that card, I drew once more and received the Eight of Wands. Finally, I pulled an oracle card to shed further light on how they perceive you. The combination of these cards evokes many layers of meaning. The Nine of Swords shows that in their eyes, you appear to be in a state filled with anxiety, with constant worry, as if your thoughts never rest, as if you are plagued by restlessness that keeps you awake at night, consumed by concerns about this relationship or about the future. They see you tormenting yourself, carrying fears and obsessions that you cannot easily let go of. Then, the Seven of Pentacles reflects their view of you as someone who is waiting, patiently planting seeds, tending, nurturing, but also growing restless because the fruits have not yet appeared, because the answers you hope for have not yet come. They sense that you are investing so much expectation into this, but at the same time, you are being pulled into the weariness of waiting, into the weight of yearning for something that has not yet arrived. The Seven of Cups shows that in their eyes, you appear as though you are wandering amidst many illusions, many choices, many unclear visions. They may feel that sometimes you set your expectations too high, while at other times you hesitate between possibilities, not fully certain of what it is you truly want. But then comes the Eight of Wands, and this reveals something else, that although they see you as someone full of contemplation, torn by inner struggles, they also see within you an energy that can suddenly erupt, a force capable of decisive and swift action. In their perception, you carry within you two contrasting aspects. On one hand, you are filled with doubts, hesitations, longings, and uncertainties, yet on the other, you possess the capacity to act with remarkable speed, to move from indecision into powerful determination. And now, with the oracle card drawn to illuminate further, the reading opens a deeper view into how this person is truly perceiving you, into the impressions that lie hidden within their heart. Looking through the cards, I can sense with great clarity that, in their mind, you appear as someone weighed down with worries, entangled in your own reflections, and they also recognize that it is they themselves, their energy, their actions, or even their silence, that has placed you in such a state. They are aware that they are the cause of your sorrow, that their behavior has made you wrestle with emotions you cannot easily release, and this leaves in them a heavy impression of how you are living and experiencing this love right now. They see you as someone who has put forth immense effort to arrive at this point. You have taken careful, deliberate steps, slowly yet steadily, and you have invested yourself in building this relationship from the smallest of details. They can clearly see that the journey you both have walked together has not been easy, not always filled with joy or smoothness, but even so, you have chosen to remain patient, to persist. You have chosen to steadily accumulate day after day, moment after moment, weaving this bond piece by piece. Perhaps your steps are not loud, not hurried, not dramatic, but they are strong, enduring, and unwavering. They see how you have always tried to sustain this connection, to nurture it, even while weathering so many trials along the way. And yet, at this very moment, all that you are feeling is as if you have fallen into a labyrinth. It is as though everything had once been moving along a steady path, a rhythm you thought would continue to flow smoothly, and then suddenly it became stuck, diverted into a passage that is unclear, leaving you lost, unable to see the way out. And it is precisely this descent into the maze that has left you feeling trapped, suspended in midair, unable to move forward, unable to retreat. In their eyes, you are deeply tormented by this, caught in a state without answers, a place where neither progress nor retreat seems possible. They think that perhaps you now feel your only option is to wait, to endure patiently, because there appears to be no other choice. And what is most striking here is that they are fully aware it is they who have placed you in this situation. They recognize that you are suffering, that you are bewildered because of what they have done or what they have failed to do. They know that it is their own actions or their silence that has made you anxious, that has cast you into this uncertainty. In their mind, there exists a silent admission. It is I who caused them to hurt. It is I who made them wait. It is I who left them lost and confused. And that is the image of you in their eyes at this moment. A person burdened with anguish, entangled in struggles they themselves have played a part in creating. For those of you who are in a relationship where daily connection and direct interaction with this person exists, this image becomes even clearer. They may have already seen the weariness on your face, sensed the way your thoughts weigh heavily upon you, noticed how worry has wrapped itself around you. They see you slipping into states of overthinking, moments where you appear absent-minded, moments where silence engulfs you, moments when your eyes seem burdened with heaviness. And they know, without doubt, that the cause of all this is not distant, but comes from them. Looking at the whole picture, in their eyes you are someone who has made steady, patient efforts, someone who has accumulated and built this relationship with sincerity, not in haste, but with determination and constancy. You believed that this path would continue to unfold, slowly yet surely, step by step. And yet now, the sudden appearance of a pause, of an unexpected turning point, has left you feeling lost, uncertain of direction. And they know very clearly that it is because of them that you wear this expression of turmoil, that you carry this face marked with contemplation and sorrow. What stands out most vividly here is that within their inner world there lies a deep-seated fear, an old memory bound tightly to wounds they are unwilling to experience again. They carry the thought, I never want to go through that pain again, not ever. And perhaps all this time, they have deliberately kept the lid closed, suppressed and hidden those emotions deep within the subconscious, like a locked chest buried far beneath. Yet at some moment, those concealed feelings have risen again, surfacing like shadows breaking through the water, reviving what was once buried, transforming into anxieties, into haunting fears now alive in their daily existence. It is this resurfacing that has caused them to sink into restless thought, into vague and wandering confusion. And from that place, whether consciously or unconsciously, they have begun to affect you as well, drawing you into the whirlpool of these worries, pulling you into the same storm of unease that they themselves cannot yet master. The card reveals that the path the two of you had been walking seemed steady, almost as if it had already taken shape, progressing slowly but surely, step by step with a sense of stability. And yet, when this person suddenly fell into confusion, when they allowed old memories and fears to resurface, all of those steps seemed to falter, as though the steady rhythm of your journey together was abruptly interrupted. A relationship that once appeared to be moving along with balance and continuity suddenly veered off course. They began slipping into a state of uncertainty, no longer knowing clearly where to go, which direction to choose, or what the future might hold. From someone who once appeared confident, they have retreated into avoidance, wishing to escape reality, unwilling to face it directly, unwilling to decide. And because of that, they cannot offer any definite answers, not to themselves and not to you. It is this wavering that has left you so heavily affected. You, who had been building alongside them, you who had trusted that things would continue moving forward, now find yourself standing in the posture of waiting. You are left with no choice but to hope, to pray that one day they will return, that they will recover their spirit, that they will regain the clarity and stability they once had. You feel as though you have been placed into a state where all you can do is wait in silence, carrying within you restlessness, pain, and disappointment. And this, too, is being mirrored back into the image they now hold of you. They can see clearly that their own instability has created aftershocks within you. They recognize that you are hurting, that you have been pulled into the maze of their uncertainty. They know that it is they themselves who have caused the turmoil in your heart. In their eyes, you have now become the one force to bear the consequences of their hesitation, their avoidance, their inner unrest. And all of this is shining through clearly, shaping the impression they currently carry of you. Now let us go deeper into this reading to see what is truly unfolding between the two of you at this present moment. The cards that have appeared are the Wheel of Fortune, followed by the Chariot, and then the Six of Wands. The supporting cards are the Six of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, along with one oracle card. When we weave these cards together, the story that reveals itself is quite clear. What is happening here is the energy of stepping away, of detachment, or of a temporary letting go coming from your person's side. It feels as though your counterpart, at this phase, has stepped outside of the steady rhythm that once carried the two of you forward. The Wheel of Fortune in combination with the Six of Swords points to a turning point, a destined change, one that carries with it the energy of movement, of distance, of separation. Your person no longer seems certain about the path they are walking with you. They are beginning to question within themselves, is it truly right to continue on like this? Should I keep moving forward in this direction? And it is precisely this haze, this uncertainty, that has created a pause, a retreat, a step back. On the other side of this, it places you in a state where you must rise on your own, where you must continue walking forward by yourself. The presence of the Chariot alongside the Page of Wands makes this even clearer. It shows that you are now being placed in a position where you are compelled to continue the journey, even if it means doing so alone, even if it means no longer having them beside you to guide you or accompany you as before. You are being called to become the one who holds the reins, the one who must take charge and move forward. This energy carries with it the weight of solitude, the strain of having to bear it all, yet at the same time it is also a chance for you to discover your own inner power, the strength that lies within you waiting to be awakened. The Six of Wands together with the Nine of Pentacles points out that even though your person has temporarily stepped away, or even though the relationship has slipped into a phase of distance, you still possess the full ability to stand strong. The Six of Wands is the image of triumph, of moving forward, of receiving recognition, while the Nine of Pentacles represents independence, self-sufficiency, maturity, and the richness of your inner world. This pair emphasizes with great clarity that even if your person has created a gap, you can still hold on to your confidence. You can still shine brightly through your own strength and your own inherent value. This spread also carries a very distinct message that, at this moment, two possible situations may be unfolding. For some of you, it could truly be the end, a breakup that has already taken place, compelling you to walk your own path from here on. While for others, this is more of a temporary separation, a need for space, a pause that allows both of you to reflect before deciding whether to continue or not. Yet the common thread running through all of this is clear. It was your person who created this space. It was they who allowed confusion to overwhelm them and step back from the rhythm the two of you once shared. And that has left you standing in a position where your only choices are either to wait or to accept moving forward by yourself. The powerful message that resounds from this reading is this: the situation has not arisen because of any weakness or mistake on your part, but rather from your person's own uncertainty, avoidance, and crisis of faith. The cards reveal that you hold all the strength you need to keep going. You are not being left behind. In truth, you are being tested, challenged to prove just how steadfast and resilient you can be. Your person may be lost, wandering within their own labyrinth, but you still have a clear path before you. You still hold the power to keep walking firmly, even if that path is one you must tread alone. The cards are unveiling something crucial here, revealing that within the story between you and this person, some of you may be facing a situation where your counterpart has suddenly cut off communication. It feels as if they have shut the door of connection, ceased conversations, stopped sending messages, or deliberately avoided you in a way so abrupt that it left you stunned and shaken. And yet, what is worth paying attention to is that the energy here does not indicate that this relationship has truly ended. It does not carry the meaning of an absolute conclusion, but rather it points to a state of suspension, a pause, a hazy middle ground filled with ambiguity. Deep within, it seems your person is still entangled, still hesitating. They have not made a decisive, final break. Even though on the surface they may have spoken words of parting or acted in ways that mimic abandonment, at a deeper level the bond between the two of you remains intact, not severed at all. It may be that at this moment they are drifting in a fog, wandering within a haze, uncertain of what they truly want for themselves, and because of that they have stepped away, withdrawn for now. But all of this carries only the weight of something temporary, not the finality of a full stop. That is why the cards reveal the image of you being the one who must bear the responsibility of continuing forward on your own, even while carrying within you the weight of solitude. You appear as the one holding the door open so it does not shut completely, the one guarding a small flame so it does not go out while your person remains lost in their own confusion. You are both walking your own path forward and at the same time carrying the burden of keeping this thread of connection alive between the two of you, because your counterpart, at some level, has already let go. Here, a very special card has appeared, the Violin card from the Oracle deck. This is the card that represents roots, the foundation, the source. It comes as a reminder that the connection between you and your person is not something random or fleeting. This is a bond woven from destiny, a tie rooted in something deep and profound. And precisely because it is a destined connection, this relationship cannot be said to be completely over. Even though on the surface it may look like separation, like cracks and distance, in its essence the roots of this bond still remain intact, still alive beneath the surface. Therefore, the current state can be understood as this: your person is in the midst of a temporary retreat, a form of avoidance, while you are the one holding on so that the lifeline of this connection does not get severed. You may feel lonely, you may feel abandoned, but the card emphasizes that the connection is still here. It has not been broken. It is simply that you are the one walking forward alone, shouldering the responsibility alone, protecting and safeguarding what is left, while waiting for them to find themselves again. This is the stage where you are both moving on your own path and at the same time carrying what they cannot yet carry, preserving the thread so that it does not dissolve into nothingness. The overall energy of this spread clearly shows this relationship is not closed, not ended. It is simply that your person is submerged in confusion, lost in ambiguity, while you have become the one keeping the rhythm, the one tending to the roots of this bond, keeping the flame alive until they are lucid enough, ready enough, to return to the path you once walked together. Now, let us look deeper into their thoughts to see how they are perceiving the current state of your relationship. This is what the cards want to open up for you, to help you understand more fully what lies within their heart and their mind. The cards that have appeared here are the Fool, followed by the Nine of Wands, and then the image of the Queen of Wands. The supporting cards are the Nine of Cups and the Five of Cups. What this person is truly feeling about the relationship between the two of you is that their focus right now is turned inward, entirely on themselves and on the state of their own inner world. They believe that if their inner turmoil is not resolved, If those knots within are not untangled, then this relationship cannot progress. It cannot move forward. It cannot reach anywhere meaningful. In other words, the core issue does not lie with you, but with them. They feel they must first arrange, balance, and resolve what is unsettled inside before they can truly turn towards you and nurture this bond. The presence of the Fool reveals their yearning for liberation, for release, for a fresh start from a blank slate, a place of freedom. This card embodies their deep desire to step back, to carve out a space of their own. They long for time alone, time to stand apart, to breathe, to regain calm. It is not that they want to leave you forever, but rather that in this present moment, they feel they need a pause, a stillness in order to reflect upon everything. Their heart seems weighed down with too many ties, too many burdens, too many responsibilities, expectations, or anxieties pressing down on them, leaving them suffocated. And because of this, the thought arises within them. I just want to be somewhere where no one knows who I am, where no one interferes, where no one judges, a place where only myself and silence exist, so that I may see things clearly. Even though in reality they may not be ready to run away or to vanish entirely, within their mind lives this longing, a wish to disappear into some nameless, unfamiliar space where nobody recognizes them, where they can step away from all pressures, so that they may reflect, listen to themselves, and understand their own heart more deeply. All of the cards here reveal that they are surrounded, entangled by countless ties, countless invisible strings from which they cannot easily break free. The Nine of Wands speaks of defensiveness, of exhaustion, of a state of tension and self-protection. They are caught between wanting to protect themselves and not wanting to let go, yet also unable to move forward. The Five of Cups carries the heavy weight of regret, of loss, of dwelling on the past, and this makes them close in upon themselves even more. And yet, the Nine of Cups together with the Queen of Wands shows that deep within, there is still an unquenchable yearning, the desire for happiness, for a love that is full, passionate, a love that brings emotional fulfillment and joy. But at this moment, what they feel most strongly is the fatigue of being bound, of carrying burdens and pressures they do not know how to unravel. And so, they long for space, for distance, to return to that part of themselves that is free, unrestrained, to reclaim the expansiveness of their true nature, and only then might they be able to turn towards you and towards this relationship with their whole self. This person is showing that in order to truly sit down and reflect with calmness and clarity, given the circumstances they are currently in, their environment, their position, the influences surrounding them, there are simply too many ties, too many complications, too much interference. It is precisely these entanglements that prevent them from finding stillness, that keep them from letting their mind rest and think clearly. They feel that they need a different space, a different state of being, somewhere untouched by the intricate web of relationships, somewhere free from obligations or restraints pulling at them. And because of this, even if they wish to see you, even if they long to connect, at this moment they are choosing to remain still, to stand apart, to refrain from connecting with anyone at all. This is not because they wish to sever the bond, nor because they want to end the relationship with you, and it is certainly not a denial of your presence or your significance in their life. No, the truth is far more delicate. They are simply in need of a pause, of a quiet stretch of time and space where there are no ties, no compulsory connections, no obligations pulling at them, so that they may finally look deep within, face themselves directly, and hear the voice of their own soul. They long for a space where they can converse with themselves, where they can confront, with honesty, the truths rising within their own heart. This person admits that in their current state, if nothing changes, they cannot meet you openly, they cannot bring themselves to share their heart with you. They acknowledge this. They see it clearly. Inside, everything is in disarray to the point where even they do not know what they truly want, do not know what it is their soul is truly yearning for. It is a sensation of confusion, of uncertainty, as though they are standing before a mirror, but the reflection no longer appears clear, no longer recognizable. They feel adrift, lost, unable to be certain about the very desires that should anchor them. And so here arises the stark reality, the sobering truth. They are being forced to face a question of immense weight. What is their true happiness? What kind of happiness are they truly searching for? What do they need in order to feel whole, fulfilled, at peace within themselves? These are the questions they are desperate to uncover. For if they cannot yet find a clear answer to the essence of happiness, then they cannot step forward with you, cannot build this relationship into something steady, lasting, and strong. They feel bound from every direction, not only within the realm of love with you, but also by other relationships, responsibilities, and pressures pressing in from all sides. They see the invisible threads tightening around them, constricting them, draining their energy, suffocating them. And so, what they long for most in this moment is liberation, to be freed, to unbind themselves, to release all that holds them down. They wish to return to a blank state, a clean foundation, an empty canvas upon which they can finally ask, what is the happiness that truly belongs to me? What is it that genuinely fills my heart, that brings me serenity, wholeness, and joy? What is the happiness that is meant for me, regardless of what anyone else may say? They are determined to find this answer, to name clearly and claim with certainty the form of happiness that springs from the deepest core of their being, a fulfillment that allows them to say with conviction, this is my happiness. This is what makes me whole. This is the life I truly wish to walk towards. And until they discover that truth, until they come face to face with it, they will not be able to open their heart to you completely, nor will they be able to carry this relationship forward into its full potential. This person is revealing a very clear sense that, at this moment, they do not want involvement, they do not want connection, nor do they want interaction with anyone at all. They feel that in their current state, they cannot do much, they cannot shift anything, they cannot move or advance the relationship between the two of you. And they're admitting this. They are voicing this truth with frankness. After that, I drew an additional card from the Oracle deck, and the message that emerged was this. They do not want to repeat the feelings, the painful experiences they have endured before. It is as if inside they are screaming, I don't want to fall into that situation again. I don't want to live through that one more time. To gain a clearer understanding, I pulled another tarot card to deepen the meaning, and the card that appeared was Death. Looking at this combination, what rises powerfully to the surface is this. This person does not want to blend into the crowd. They do not want to exist within a collective where they are swept away by the masses, by public opinion, by the pressure of collective judgment. They are showing a strong resistance, a very pronounced refusal. They do not want to be drowned out by the crowd. They do not want to be forced into accepting what the majority claims to be right. They feel burdened, unbearably heavy, by the restraints, the unseen controls imposed by their surroundings. It is as if this person is living in a space where others are constantly telling them, you must be this way, you must act like that, this choice is wrong, that path is a mistake. Every remark, every critical gaze, every judgmental word feels like an invisible rope binding them tighter and tighter, leaving them suffocated, stripped of their own voice, unable to breathe in their truth. The Death card here is a solemn reminder that what they yearn for is an ending, a severing, a profound transformation that would allow them to be reborn. They long to abandon the relentless spiral of being controlled, to step away from being suffocated by collective perspectives, and to return to their truest self. They do not wish to dissolve into the masses, nor to become just another indistinguishable part of an enormous crowd where the individual voice is drowned out. They crave release from the noise, withdrawal from the place of someone who is forced to bend and follow the dictates of the crowd. It can be said that this person feels as though they have been swept away by the overwhelming current of public opinion, by invisible pressures that weigh down from the collective until their mind falls into chaos. They have thought and thought, exhausted themselves to the point where all they want is to disconnect, to reset everything back to zero. The message they send out is clear. They do not want to be devoured. They no longer wish to sink deeper into the whirlpool of others' judgments. They want to stop, to end these impositions, to finally carve out their own path, a path untouched by the surrounding noise, a path that belongs solely to them. This person reveals an unmistakable desire. They want to break free from the words, the interference, the constraints imposed by those around them, those insistent voices that say, you must do this, you must do that, only this way is right. All such pressures make them feel suffocated. What they truly long for is to be able to walk forward on their own 2 feet, to discover the answers to happiness and choice by themselves. They do not want to be swept along, do not want to be swallowed whole by the will of the majority or the demands of others. Instead, they yearn to reach for the answer with their own hands, to find their way by themselves. This person emphasizes with intensity that they refuse to dissolve into the control of others. They hunger to discover the truth from deep within their own heart. That is why, when it comes to the relationship between the two of you, they are in need of time to slow down, to reflect carefully, to look back with deliberate thought. Deep within their heart, there was once a vision, a yearning for how this connection could become a source of happiness, how it could be something whole and fulfilling. They once believed that between you both, there existed a true image of happiness, something precious and real that had already been present. Yet, it seems that around them there are voices of disapproval, echoes of dissent, as though the happiness they felt with you is something others refuse to accept. This has unsettled them, leaving them hesitant, making them pause, making them sink into a state of restless contemplation. And still, in the depths of their heart, this person is saying they want to reclaim it with their own hands, to rediscover that happiness they once felt with you. They do not wish for anyone else to decide for them. They are seeking to affirm, with quiet determination, that their happiness belongs to them and to them alone, regardless of what anyone else may say. And this, right now, is what weighs most heavily on their mind. They yearn for the right to make their own choices in love, to hold their own agency in the future of the two of you, without being swayed, without being shaken by the voices outside. Thus, the message they are conveying is this: in the relationship you share, they must be the one to find the answer. They need stillness. They need the sanctuary of silence and their own private space in which they can listen to themselves, so they may discern what it is they truly long for, what it is that truly holds happiness for them. And it is this very truth, this inner need, that they are yearning for you to understand. Now, let us shift to look at things from your perspective, to see how you are perceiving this person at this moment in time. The cards that have appeared here are the Six of Pentacles, accompanied by the Ace of Cups, followed by the Emperor. With the Emperor, I drew an additional card, which is the Two of Pentacles. And from the Oracle deck, I also pulled another card to shed further light on the meaning. What becomes clear here is that the image of this person, as reflected through your eyes right now, is that of someone who appears weaker than usual, someone who seems to be falling into a state of imbalance, no longer able to hold on to the steadiness they once had. Perhaps, for some of you, there have been moments when this person suddenly fell silent, cut off communication, or disappeared without warning, leaving you confused, wondering what had happened, stirring up worries and doubts within your heart. When you look at them now, you sense that they are in a phase where they are in need of support, in need of a hand reaching out to help, in need of an energy that could replenish them and lend them strength. They seem to be in a place where they cannot regain balance on their own, unable to lift their spirit by themselves, and you can clearly see that what they need is some form of upliftment, an emotional supplement, a source of motivation from outside that could refill their heart once more. You see that they are truly out of balance, not only emotionally, but also in terms of self-confidence and that inner axis of stability within their soul. This lack of equilibrium makes them lose the aura of strength or steadiness they once carried, leaving them instead fragile, susceptible, easily shaken by external forces. And you, from deep within, feel the yearning. I want to do something to compensate for this, to soothe, to fill the emptiness within them. In the way you perceive them, they seem like someone drifting, floundering, without a firm anchor, easily swept away into confusion and disorder. Perhaps this is why, at times, you feel that they are no longer clear-headed enough to think things through, no longer calm enough to make sound decisions. You sense that within them, there may be unfolding a period of disheartenment, a cycle of self-denial, a phase in which they are doubting themselves and, in that doubt, are prone to making misguided judgments. What you fear most is that, in this hazy and uncertain state, they might inadvertently make a wrong choice, a rushed decision that could leave a lasting impact on the relationship between the two of you. You wish for them to find the right answer, one that arises from clarity and from the true depths of their heart, rather than from confusion or weariness. Within you is a deep concern, intertwined with the hope that they will overcome this phase, that they will not stray from the path that leads toward the happiness you both share. In other words, you care profoundly. You are watching over this person with a heavy heart, filled with deep worry, fearing that they might let slip away a precious opportunity or unintentionally harm the sacred bond that exists between the two of you. You see with undeniable clarity the instability within them, and your heart is overwhelmed by unease, by restless contemplation. And now we come to the heart of the matter, to listen for the direct answer to the most important question of all. What does this person, your counterpart, truly think about you? How do they perceive you? The cards that have revealed themselves here are the Knight of Swords, the Hanged Man, the King of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles. The clarifying cards are the Five of Wands and the Devil. Alongside them, from the Oracle deck, there is the image of the typewriter. Altogether, these cards are speaking volumes about how this person genuinely sees you. First and foremost, this person perceives you as someone who has the ability to speak your thoughts and express your viewpoints with honesty and clarity, direct, transparent, without disguise, without concealment. In their eyes, you are someone who can rise and stand tall, voicing your truth with strength and conviction, even if your opinions clash with opposition or invite conflict from others. Even in the midst of heated debates, you are unafraid. You dare to say what you believe to be right, and you dare to hold your ground. They recognize within you the powerful energy of someone with true fortitude, someone with the courage to remain steadfast in their beliefs and the values that define them. At the same time, they also perceive that you are someone who, even when wounded, even when enduring losses, even if it means having to let go of something deeply important, you still manage to rise again and ask yourself, what must I do to keep moving forward? You do not collapse, you do not surrender in the face of hardship, but instead you always search for the next path, the next direction that will carry you onward. In their eyes, you embody a resilient strength, a tenacity that allows you to overcome adversity, to be reborn time and time again after each downfall. They also feel that you possess a powerful allure, a magnetic pull that is almost impossible to resist. It is as if there is an enchantment about you that keeps others from looking away, and they themselves admit that they have been drawn in, that they have become captivated by you. This attraction does not merely come from outer appearance or presence, but from your forthrightness, your resilience, and the truthfulness you carry within. It is precisely these qualities that have ensnared them, that make them unable to free themselves from the orbit of your influence. In their eyes, there is within you an integrity that commands admiration. Even when standing against misfortune, even when faced with heavy trials, you still manage to hold firm, to remain composed enough to endure and to overcome. They see in you the image of someone who can remain standing even amidst the storm, a person who, though in pain, can still bear it with patience, waiting for the right moment to act. All of this fills them with admiration, leaves them conquered by your essence, and makes them feel that they cannot, no matter how they try, escape the fierce gravity of your presence. Here, the cards such as the Five of Wands and the Devil further reveal that your allure does not merely inspire admiration, but it also awakens within them a tangle of contradictions, an inner struggle they cannot easily escape. They are at once powerfully drawn to you and, at the same time, feel as though they are bound in a tie that is not simple to break. Yet this very paradox only underscores the deeper truth. In their eyes, you are the one who holds the power to make them both enthralled and unsettled, both deeply admiring and utterly unable to let go. They show that they are captivated, pulled irresistibly toward the very way you rise to face adversity, the way you keep striving to push through hardship upon hardship, always finding for yourself a path forward. They see in you the image of someone unyielding, strong, never defeated, even though within your heart there may be scars, even though you have endured pain and suffering of your own. To them, you are the embodiment of strength, of endurance, of the ability to rise again from the rubble of collapse. This person admits that, of course, you too have moments of hurt, times of vulnerability, or periods of struggle. Yet what enchants them, what makes them fall under your spell, is that even in the very midst of adversity, you continue to ask yourself, what must I do to move forward? You are able to carve out solutions. You carry within you the strength to persist in what you believe, to preserve your honesty and your will with unwavering resolve. It is precisely these qualities that have bound their heart, that have shackled their mind, making it impossible for them to free themselves from the powerful sphere of your influence. And it is precisely because you embody such strength, such candor, and such purity that this person feels that, in their current state, filled with uncertainty, hesitation, and lack of inner stability, being with you, meeting you, standing by your side, is not something simple. They realize that your directness, your clarity, only serves to highlight their indecision, making them feel even more that in the haze and doubt where they now stand, they may not be able to walk beside you as they are. And this, in turn, awakens within them an urgent, fervent desire. I must rediscover myself. I must restore my true being so that I can stand tall before this person. The typewriter card is affirming something profound. In their eyes, you are the one who has the ability to convey your emotions, your truest thoughts, in a way that is clear, direct, and without concealment. You are able to articulate your feelings and your genuine desires, and you do so with a strength of honesty that carries great power. But for them, it is different. At this moment, they find themselves unable to do the same. They do not know with certainty who their authentic self truly is, nor do they clearly recognize what it is they truly long for, what they truly need in order to feel whole and fulfilled. Within their heart, two opposing currents of emotion are locked in conflict. On one side lies desire, the hidden longings and unspoken cravings, things they cannot yet name, cannot yet shape into clarity. On the other side lies fear, memories of painful experiences from the past, wounds they do not wish to repeat, suffering they do not want to endure once more. It is this constant tug-of-war that has left them disoriented, unable to choose, uncertain of what their deepest wish truly is. And yet, beneath all of this, there exists a yearning, an urgent aspiration to uncover the true answer for themselves. They long to discover what real happiness means to them, what it is that will make their heart feel whole. And they wish for this discovery to come from within, not from external influences, not from being carried away or dictated by the opinions of others, not from letting themselves drift along the guidance of those around them. This person is yearning to find the answer in their own heart, yearning to stand firmly on their own 2 feet, so that they can one day face you, the one they see as so strong, so radiant, with a presence that is complete, whole, and unwavering. Inside, they are thinking that unless they reclaim themselves, unless they rediscover and stand firmly in their authentic being, they will not be able to face you honestly, nor sustain a true and lasting connection with you. The one they perceive as always looking straight ahead, always truthful, always steadfast in everything you are. They feel that in their current state, they cannot yet stand as your equal, cannot yet walk beside you in the clarity and transparency that this relationship demands. And I know that when you hear this, perhaps your immediate thought will be, no, it doesn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be that way. We can work through this together. If you are feeling uneasy, then reach out. Let's talk, because only through conversation can things be untangled. Silence will solve nothing. That is how you would feel. That is what you would want, because your heart is always longing to see them again, always overflowing with worry and anticipation. You love this person, you care deeply, and you continually hope that the relationship can be guided toward the light, toward the positive, toward happiness. But what must be emphasized here is that it is not only you they are avoiding. At this moment, they are withdrawing from everyone. They do not want to engage, do not want to connect with anyone, not with you, nor with anyone else. The only thing they truly desire right now is a space that belongs solely to themselves, a space where they can listen inwardly, where they can search for the answers hidden deep within their soul. They long to be alone, to separate themselves so that they can be absolutely clear with themselves about these questions. What is my true happiness? Which path with you will fill my heart completely? Is the happiness with you truly the direction I want to embrace? And all of these questions can only be answered once they have the solitude and the time wholly dedicated to their own inner journey. What I sense very strongly is that this relationship is by no means over. Even if, on the surface, from the outside, it may appear as though the two of you are on pause, in distance, as though everything has come to a standstill, the truth is, this is not the end. This is a necessary silence, a gift of time granted by the universe for this person to uncover their own truth. They need this period of solitude to explore what happiness means to them, to decide how this relationship with you can move forward in a way that will truly bring them a sense of wholeness, of fulfillment, of completeness. And that is why this phase should not be seen as rejection, but rather as an important step toward building long-lasting happiness in the future. It is the necessary pause, the retreat that allows for stronger and more certain steps forward later on. Therefore, what I feel very clearly is this. This period, this silence, is in truth an opportunity for both of you to gain clarity and maturity within the relationship. If you feel within yourself that you can wait, that waiting for this person does not bring unbearable pain or drain you of all your strength, then you can absolutely allow them this time, a time for them to rediscover themselves, to find their own answers, before they return to face you with the clarity, the wholeness, and the strength that you truly deserve. I sense that what is most crucial here is for you to give them the time that they so deeply need. Allow them the space to retreat, the solitude to quiet their heart and uncover their truth. Of course, not everyone has the patience to wait. Not everyone is willing to open their heart enough to allow their counterpart this silence. And if you feel that you cannot, if you feel that you no longer have the time or the strength to endure waiting, then you do not have to force yourself. For in truth, nothing obligates you to wait. This is not an imposition, not the only path, and so you're free to choose what is right for yourself, to follow what your own heart guides you to do. And to close, I drew a card of guidance for you, and the card that appeared is the Web of Clouds. This card carries with it a vital message: trust in your own discernment. It reminds you that in this period, there may be many voices, many opinions coming from those around you. Some may say, this person is not worthy of you. It would be better if you let go. And if, in your heart, you truly feel the same, if your soul resonates with that truth, then you absolutely can choose to release and move on. But if you follow those voices only because they are the majority, while deep within you there still lies feeling, while your heart is not yet ready to let go, then to abandon your truth for the sake of others' words may lead you into a wrong decision. This card comes as a reminder that you must not allow yourself to become entangled in the web of opinions from the outside. Listen, but do not let yourself be swept away. What matters most is that you return inward, that you hold firmly to your own judgment, your own awareness. This is the time when you most need clarity with yourself, when you must look directly into your true emotions and affirm, "This is what I truly want. This is my choice." No matter what others may say, no matter how loud the noise around you becomes, in the end, only you know what your heart genuinely desires. This is the stage where you must place trust in yourself, where you must honor your own choices and your own perspective. Stand firm, for it is that very steadfastness which will become the light guiding you through the fog, leading you to clarity and to the happiness that is meant for you. The importance here is not in making a hurried decision, not in delivering a shallow judgment just to rid yourself of discomfort or to escape the confusion of the moment, nor is it in running from the heaviness just for temporary relief. What matters is that you allow yourself to go all the way to the depths, to face yourself earnestly, to ask and to see clearly, in my heart, what is it that matters most? What is it that I never wish to lose, the thing I do not want to let slip from my hands? It is in those moments of intimate self-confrontation that clarity will open itself to you. Give yourself the chance to sit down, to listen deeply, and to uncover what it is your heart most longs for. This is also the very time when your person, your counterpart, is on their own path of searching, walking their own journey of self-questioning and self-discovery. And perhaps you too should try doing the same. This is the moment when you can calmly reflect upon yourself and ask, after all, what does love mean to me? What is it that truly makes me happy, that truly makes me feel fulfilled? Do not rush to pour all of your energy into trying to understand what they are thinking, because there are times when even they themselves do not yet fully understand their own heart. And that is why, instead of struggling to decipher their mind, let them have their own space, while you return inward, listening closely to your own soul. I know that some of you here may have experienced that sudden, bewildering moment, your person falling into silence, disappearing without explanation, cutting off contact, leaving your heart flooded with questions, worries, and confusion. You cannot understand what is happening. You do not know why it has unfolded this way. Yet in those moments, instead of exhausting yourself trying to guess what they are thinking or how they are feeling, remember this. At present, they are facing themselves. And so, the best thing for you to do is to set their situation aside, to put it down for now, and not allow your mind to be consumed and tangled up in something you cannot control. Try taking a journal, a notebook, and begin writing down every single emotion swirling inside you. Write it line by line, detail by detail. Do not only note, I am sad or I am worried, but go deeper. What exactly am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What is the root cause of this emotion? What hidden desire within me is this truly reflecting? When you are patient enough to trace back each layer, step by step, you will begin to uncover more than you realized, and you will begin to see with greater clarity. What once seemed vague, tangled, overwhelming will gradually be put into order, and through the act of writing, you will discover a sense of calm and a light of clarity that belongs solely to you. And if you already feel that you are clear, that you understand yourself and know exactly what you need, then perhaps writing may not seem necessary. But remember this, often we believe we understand, when in truth we have only seen the surface. The practice of writing, of digging deeper, of asking again and again why, and why will open up additional layers of meaning. It will allow you to reach into the very core of your emotions. This is not merely an act of recording, but a healing journey in itself, a way of gathering together the tangled fragments of your soul, of weaving them back into coherence, so that you may find yourself steadier, quieter, clearer than ever before. I truly hope that you will give this a try, because only when you actually begin to write, when you truly face yourself with honesty and patience, can you gradually uncover the answers. Can you begin to arrive at the sound judgment that flows from the depths of your heart? Of course, this is not easy. It is not something where you jot down a few lines and instantly understand everything. Facing your true emotions is a challenging process. There will be moments that leave you unsettled, moments when you feel lost in fog, moments when you write and then sigh to yourself, I tried, but nothing is becoming clear, I cannot do it. Yet it is precisely because it is difficult, precisely because it does not come easily, that it requires your time, your persistence. You must give yourself the chance, the opportunity to walk alongside those emotions patiently until at last you touch the very core, until you uncover the most important truth lying within your own heart. That is the message this card longs to bring to you. And with that, I will bring the reading for those of you who chose pile 2 to a close. Thank you for listening and for taking the time to connect with the messages within this reading. If something in these cards has stirred your heart or resonated with you in even the smallest way, I would be grateful if you left a little symbol or a few words of your thoughts, just so I know this message has reached the place it was meant to reach. And please, do not forget to press like on the video and subscribe to the channel to support me. Your support is a precious gift, a profound source of encouragement that fuels me to continue bringing forward new readings, ever more meaningful and heartfelt. I look forward to seeing you again in the next readings. Hello to those of you who have chosen pile 3. Thank you for your patience. Now I will begin the reading for everyone who is drawn to this pile. May this reading bring you healing, new realizations, and moments filled with love. The theme we are exploring here is, what does your person truly think about you? First, I will look into their current energy, to see where they are right now, what state they are in, and what they are facing in their life. The cards that have appeared are the 3 of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the 6 of Cups. The clarifying cards are the Ace of Pentacles and the 9 of Cups. When looking at this spread as a whole, the first message that emerges strongly is this. This person is in a phase of rebuilding, of reestablishing, of beginning anew. Within them resonates a powerful call for restoration, for making corrections, for creating again from the foundation upward. It feels as though they once had something deeply precious in their hands, once attained certain achievements, once held close a happiness or a value they cherished dearly, but then somehow it was lost, or at the very least. They now feel that it is no longer whole as it once was. They are revisiting, they are recalling, they are steeped in memories of what belonged to the past. The 6 of Cups together with the Ace of Pentacles emphasizes that they are returning to memories, returning to the things that once gave them warmth, sweetness, and that simple yet profound sense of happiness. They are dwelling on past moments, on times gone by, on experiences that once made their heart feel complete. This energy very much connects to you because in what I see here, it is clear that for many of you, there has been distance between yourself and this person, there has been separation, and they are now remembering deeply the days when they were with you. If indeed you and this person are apart, perhaps even broken up, then what is happening now is that they are often traveling back into those memories, recalling the moments of being by your side. They think of what you both once shared together. They recall the sweetness of your connection, the small details that might have seemed ordinary at the time, but are now etched in their memory as something invaluable. For them, this is an incredibly important part of their heart, and in the present moment, as they look back, they feel regret, they feel wistfulness, and at the same time they recognize that they need to rebuild, to renew themselves, so that they can face life. And face you, with strength once again. The 5 of Wands together with the 9 of Cups reveals that they are in the midst of an inner battle, wrestling with contradictions and conflicts, yet at the same time yearning deeply for a state of true fulfillment and happiness. It is as though they are standing between 2 poles. On one side, the turmoil, the restlessness, the unresolved tensions. On the other, the desire to once again experience joy in its fullness, the serenity of a heart at peace. And all of this compels them into a state of self-reflection, pushing them to search for their own path, to find the strength to rise once more. In other words, right now they are in a stage filled with longing, regret, and struggle, but also with the burning desire to rebuild. They want to restart something in their life, and this process is intimately tied to looking back at the past, at what they once cherished, among which is you, and the relationship that once existed between the 2 of you. The energy here makes it clear that there may have been a conflict between you, perhaps heated words, arguments spoken in haste, moments of anger that spiraled into distance, or even separation in the heat of uncontrolled emotions. Or it may simply be that your relationship often carried friction, frequent disagreements, small quarrels that never fully subsided. Yet, even within such situations, when this person looks back, they still feel that those moments were, in their own way, part of happiness. They think that even the arguments, the clashes, the debates with you, those 2 were a form of joy, for they signified that the 2 of you were truly connected, truly cared enough to engage so fiercely with one another. And now, as they revisit these memories, they recognize them as precious, as moments of great value in the tapestry of your shared past. Within their heart now arises a powerful desire to begin again, to rebuild from the very foundation. They feel that there were times when their own thoughts, their own perspectives, were flawed, hasty, or immature. They acknowledge to themselves that they made mistakes in their approach, that they mishandled things, and it is precisely because of this recognition that now they want to change. They want, once more, to attempt to create anew, to restore what was broken. This is why the energy of rebuilding, of starting over, is so present, so insistent in this reading. And for those of you who never had a deep romantic connection with this person, or who are not in a state of separation at present, the message here is still very clear. Your person is remembering their past achievements, the values they once held dear, the precious things they once possessed. Perhaps they lost those things due to a sudden event. Perhaps they let slip away an important opportunity, and now they are yearning to reclaim it, longing to retrieve what once belonged to them. Looking back, they admit that in the past, perhaps out of overconfidence, perhaps from stubbornly clinging to the path they thought was right, they failed to recognize what was truly important and worth preserving. But now they no longer wish to continue walking that same path of habit and inertia. They are telling themselves, I need to stop, I need to reflect, I need to start again. I want to try once more. This person no longer wants to chase after impulses. Instead, they are turning toward rebuilding, toward carefully laying the foundations again, step by step, with patience and persistence. They want to test themselves one more time, to strive with steady endurance to regain what was lost. And if, in your case, the two of you have indeed broken up, then here it appears unmistakably. They want reconciliation. They want another chance to begin again, to continue the story the two of you once left unfinished. Within them is a heart overflowing with memories of you, overflowing with longing, and all of this becomes the driving force that urges them to want, once more, to return, once more, to reach for happiness at your side. And to shine a deeper light upon their present impression of you, the next cards revealed are the Ten of Swords and Temperance. This is a very particular combination, layered with meaning about the way they now see you within their heart. The clarifying cards are the Three of Cups, another Ten of Swords, the Devil, and the Two of Swords. After that, I also drew an additional oracle card to illuminate the energy even further. Together, these cards unfold a picture rich with depth, exposing the way this person is looking back at you, looking back at themselves, and reflecting on how they once behaved in the relationship. What comes forth clearly is this. In the past, this person acted selfishly at times. There were moments of obstinacy, even childishness, and a certain degree of irresponsibility. If you and they were once truly in a romantic relationship that later ended in separation, then in their eyes now, as they recall it, they themselves recognize that in those days they often left you weary, often placed you in difficult situations. They remember how, when you opened your heart to give advice, when you spoke out in the hope of preserving the bond and moving the relationship forward in a good way, they refused to listen. In their memory, you were once so patient, pouring your heart and soul into speaking, into expressing, into trying to show them the path that could save the relationship. You placed all your sincerity into those moments of sharing, yet they chose to brush it aside, to ignore it, or even to react with irritation. There were times when you wanted to discuss things clearly, to draw a firm line between black and white, but they would excuse themselves by saying, love can't be that simple, it can't be divided so quickly, and use that reasoning to avoid truly listening. They once shut their ears, rejecting even the words that came only because you cared. And despite all of that, you were the one who kept trying tirelessly to preserve the balance within the relationship. You sought ways to bring joy, to maintain a sense of ease, to ensure that both of you could still savor the beautiful moments together, even when they repeatedly acted selfishly. You tried to keep the atmosphere between you from becoming unbearably heavy, so there could still be laughter, still be lightness, even though deep inside you endured their indifference again and again. Looking at cards like the Devil and the Two of Swords, I can clearly feel that their past was dominated by bindings, obsessions, and old wounds. They may have carried shadows from previous experiences, things they feared confronting, and so they chose to blindfold themselves, to ignore, to pretend not to see. The Ten of Swords reveals there was once pain, collapse, devastation, and in that anguish, the only way they knew to protect themselves was through stubbornness. But now, when they look back, they see it with clarity. In their relationship with you, they failed to fulfill their role. They did not know how to appreciate the one who gave their all. What stands out here is the Three of Cups. It reflects that, no matter how selfish they were in the past, within them remain warm memories, joys, and the moments of happiness you brought. They remember you as someone who once knew how to create balance, who knew how to bring light, who managed to keep the relationship comfortable even when they were the very source of difficulty. This person now, in the impression they carry of you, holds both admiration and regret. They know that in the past they did not truly listen, that they dismissed the words of guidance and care that came from the love you had for them. And it was precisely that stubbornness, that lack of maturity, that caused the cracks to form in the relationship. Within them now, the image of you is of someone who once remained patient, who once kept the balance, who once brought joy, while they themselves were bound by the shadows of selfishness and old wounds. They are carrying those memories still, heavy, burdened, filled with remorse, and they remain deeply imprinted within their heart. Here, the message shows that in the past, there were precious things, special values, that this person received only because of your presence in their life. Yet at that time, they were unaware, blind to the truth that all the peace they felt, all the sense of ease, all the happiness they experienced flowed directly from you. Because they did not recognize this, they often became selfish, allowing their stubbornness and unreasonable demands to overshadow everything else. And yet, you did not let go. You did not choose to walk away. On the contrary, you tried to preserve what was fragile. You tried to lead the relationship toward a better direction. You put effort into making things gentle and light, into keeping both of you joyful, into ensuring that the air between you could feel warm and kind again. You did not surrender to their selfishness, but instead, with patience and tenderness, you used your care and your compassion to guide the relationship into a more positive place. What you did was not about mere endurance, but about keeping alive the possibility of joy, of still being able to create happy memories together. There were times in their life when they faced hardship, suffering, perhaps even crises that left them weary, moments when they felt as though they could collapse under the weight of it all. And at those moments, you were always the one beside them, saying, "Don't worry, it's okay, everything will be all right. From here on, things will get better." You used your words to lift them up. You used your love to be their foundation. And now, when they look back, they remember this with piercing clarity. In their heart rises the memory of someone who was always patient, always encouraging, always instilling in them the belief that there was still light ahead. If you and this person once had a romantic relationship but are now separated, then in their eyes at this moment, you are remembered as the one who endured their stubbornness, who had to listen to their selfish words, and yet instead of abandoning them, you were the one who ceaselessly encouraged, who brought them beautiful times, who created memorable moments. Within their heart, the impression of you still remains, someone who always tried to make sure the two of you could laugh together, even though they so many times turned away, refusing to listen. And for those of you who never truly had a romantic bond with them, in the energy that surrounds them now, their image of you carries a very similar shade. They are in a stage of life where they feel disheartened, where they feel as though they hold nothing in their hands, as though they have no value, no sense of meaning in life. They are in the posture of someone slipping into resignation, tired, carrying a hint of apathy, a weariness that pulls them down. Yet in that very moment, you appeared like a source of light, like an anchor that allowed them to feel they were not alone. You lifted them up simply by being present. You brought them moments of joy, sometimes through the simplest of things like saying, "Hey, come have a drink with me," or "Why don't we go somewhere new, just for a change of air," or even something as casual as, "If we can't go out, let's just play a game together." That would be fun too. These things may have seemed small, ordinary even, but in their heart, they became salvation. They became the light that dispelled the heavy gloom that surrounded them. You were the one who rekindled within them a spark of joy, a glimmer of faith that life could still hold spaces for lightness, that there could still be moments worth smiling about. And, because of this, no matter what state the relationship between the two of you is in now, in their heart, the image of you rises vividly. The one who never stopped encouraging, who sought every way to bring joy, who remained patient and gentle in every moment, even when they were selfish and careless time and again. You were once the one who extended the invitation, the one who gently suggested doing this or that together, creating small openings that lightened the heavy air, offering them a way out, a brighter path forward. And it was precisely these gestures that made them feel so clearly that you were reaching for their hand, pulling them out of the whirlpool of weariness, of exhaustion, of that reckless indifference in which they had become trapped. You became like someone who tirelessly infused them with strength, who reminded them that everything would, in time, become better, that the state they were in was only temporary, and that ahead there was still a road waiting to be walked. You gave them encouragement, you gave them comfort, not through flowery words, but through sincerity so genuine it allowed them to believe they could break free from the bindings that held them down and step into a better, brighter chapter of life. In their eyes, the impression of you is exactly that, a person with the power to uplift another's spirit, someone who can help a weary soul rediscover faith. Someone who can inspire the feeling that it is possible to step out of confusion and instability and rise again. And this is something they hold deep within, etched firmly, something they want to express when they speak of the image of you in their heart. As I laid more cards to see what is truly unfolding between the two of you right now, what appeared were the Two of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands. Alongside these, the Oracle deck also revealed an additional message. Looking at the spread as a whole, it becomes very clear that between you and this person there exists a profound harmony of emotions. Even if you may currently be distant, even if you have separated, or perhaps have never officially begun a romantic relationship, there is still an unmistakable resonance between your souls, between your feelings. The Two of Cups emerges here as a powerful sign of soul connection. It shows that both sides are reaching toward one another, both are thinking of each other, and within the hearts of both, there is a genuine sense of treasuring this bond. This is the card of empathy, of recognizing and feeling the other person's heart beating in rhythm with your own. It stands as an affirmation that, no matter what the external circumstances may be, in the deepest part of your being, you and this person still hold the same kind of feeling for one another. The Queen of Pentacles emphasizes once again that you, or this relationship itself, are seen as a steady foundation, a place of nurturing, compassion, and care. In their eyes, you embody stability, warmth, and a sense of safety, even when they themselves may have been caught in states of recklessness, indifference, or emotional imbalance. The Knight of Wands, on the other hand, reveals that the flame of desire is still burning, that passion and the urge to move forward are still very much alive. This card embodies the restless, fiery energy that drives them toward you, urging them to act, to bridge the distance, to bring the relationship back into motion, to reignite what once flickered and make it vibrant again. Together, these cards illuminate a truth. At this moment, between you and this person exists a resonance, a harmony of emotions. It could be named simply as mutual affection, both caring, both remembering, both thinking of one another. The words may sound uncomplicated, but beneath them lies a profound reality. Both of you are carrying a mirrored feeling, both treasuring the bond, both longing for connection. External circumstances or current states may prevent this from being spoken openly or revealed clearly, yet the emotional undercurrent flows undeniably on both sides. And so, the message of these cards affirms one thing with clarity. The link between you and them is not one-sided, not born solely from you, but is a shared experience, a mutual recognition, a love nurtured from both directions. It is a bond where each turns toward the other, where both acknowledge the other's value, where both quietly hold the wish for each other's well-being. The energy here shows vividly that, in the present, their feelings for you and their understanding of this relationship have crystallized with unmistakable clarity. Within them stirs the very same emotion you carry, meaning that the two of you remain aligned in spirit, thinking of one another with the same orientation of heart. It is not merely a fleeting trace of longing, not just a shadow of regret, but rather a profound confirmation from deep within that both of you are still sharing the same heartbeat, the same rhythm, echoing across the space between you. And more than that, for those who are in a situation of having already separated or being in a period of distance, the message here is very clear. In their heart, you are the most important presence, the one they have finally realized is irreplaceable. The cards reveal that they are constantly revisiting the past, dwelling on what once was, remembering the time that you and they shared together. When they speak of that precious past, the truth is the past they are clinging to is none other than the memory of you, of the love, of the bond they once had with you. What is crucial here is that this person has truly come to recognize their mistakes. In the past, when you and they were still together, you offered countless words of advice, countless reminders that stemmed from your care and your genuine concern. Yet they stubbornly chose to follow their own path, believing only in their own perspective, trusting only in their own choices, refusing to listen to you. Now, after walking away, after stumbling through their own hardships and failures, they finally understand that the path they chose was misguided. And in this moment, they begin to look back and realize that what you once said was the truth, that all along, You are the one who truly thought for them, cared for them, wanted what was best for them. Within their heart, this awakening is unmistakable. The most important person, the one who truly loved and cherished them, was none other than you. They may not have known how to hold on to it then. They may have taken it for granted, but now they are remembering and recognizing the immense value of what they once had. And because this realization is becoming clearer than ever, the energy shows that they are moving toward action. They are in a phase where their heart is urging them to do something to restore the bond. There are strong indications that they will take the initiative to reach out to you, because now within them has formed a certainty. I have understood myself, I know what I truly need, and I know that the most important person, the one I absolutely cannot lose, is you. This shows that they are no longer lost, that they have faced the truth within themselves, and with this awakening, they are preparing to come toward you with far more honesty and openness than before. What they want to say to you now is simple yet profound. You are the most important person in my life. You are my true happiness. When looking into how they currently view this relationship, the cards that appear are the Ace of Cups, the Sun, and the High Priestess. This combination is truly powerful. The Ace of Cups represents new love, the pure flow of emotions, the desire to begin a fresh chapter with you. The sun shines its radiant light, illuminating joy, happiness, and clarity. In their heart, you are the light, the most positive source of energy. You are the one who makes them see hope, who allows them to envision a bright future. And then, the High Priestess emerges, the card of stillness, of intuition, of inner wisdom. It whispers that although their feelings for you are already clear, within them there still remain quiet spaces, unspoken thoughts, considerations, even a touch of hesitation. They may be in the process of listening to themselves, of attuning to their intuition, searching for the most fitting way to approach you. At the same time, the Oracle card bearing the image of chess, a chessboard, also makes its presence known. This is a sign that the bond between you two is not something that can be moved by mere bursts of emotion, but rather requires calculation, careful arrangement, and deliberate steps. Just as in a game of chess, every move matters, every decision shapes the ultimate outcome. This reveals that your person no longer wishes to act impulsively as they once did, but instead wants to reach toward you with a strategy, with mindfulness, with an approach that is both sincere and steady. All of this weaves together into one picture. They have come to realize that you are the one who brings them light, love, faith, and happiness. They are drawing closer to the moment of expressing this truth, closer to the moment of offering you something of genuine value from their heart. And you, in the energy of the present, are fully in the position to receive it as a kind of balance, a kind of justice that the universe is now bestowing upon you. The energy here clearly reveals that this person carries quite a distinctive shade within them. They come across as someone a little hyperactive, at times impulsive, sometimes acting on whims, even speaking just for the sake of saying something without thinking it through. Yet, strangely enough, even when their attitude occasionally feels a bit arrogant, a bit overly self-assured, they remain impossible to dislike. There is something endearing about them, almost like the charm of a younger brother, a kind of naive, boyish sweetness that makes their stubborn streak transform into a peculiar trait rather than a lasting fault, something you find hard to hold against them for long. But when it comes to how they now perceive the relationship between you and them, there appears a profound and important shift. They have truly realized that you are the most important person to them, the one thing they cannot afford to lose. Perhaps in the past, in both their words and actions, there were many times they chose to follow only their own ego, dismissing your advice, disregarding your feelings. They once carried the attitude of, I have my own way of doing things, I know what I need. And then, through certain experiences, through separation, through collisions with reality, they came to feel the heavy cost of not listening to you. And now, returning, they carry the awakening that after all, the most important person is still you. Yet what is particularly intriguing is that instead of showing humility and offering a clear apology, they seem inclined to act as if to say, now I've realized, so this relationship is already obvious, isn't it? You and I being together is the only right answer. They carry the energy of someone freshly awakened, remorseful yet simultaneously bursting with enthusiasm, as though driven by a force that compels them to rush forward, to do anything necessary to restore the bond, to affirm, we must continue. We must move forward no matter what. It is the energy of someone who, after a long time lost, suddenly erupts with motivation, with urgency, with the determination to claim back what they now know they cannot let slip away. And when standing from your perspective, the one who has endured all these ups and downs, the feeling must be a mixture of surprise and fatigue. You are the one who had to endure their stubbornness, those stretches of time when they were unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes drawing near, other times pulling away. Those fluctuations wore you down emotionally, to the point where some of you may still feel exhausted, carrying within you the sense that you had to try so very hard just to keep the relationship in balance. In other words, while they may be only now awakening, suddenly realizing the truth of who matters most to them, you are the one who has already lived through the long days and nights of instability, of emotional turbulence, of fragility. That is why, as you look back, you might catch a glimpse of hope in this change, but at the same time you cannot deny the marks left behind by hardship, by trials, by the very weight this relationship forced you to bear. The energy that emerges here is quite intriguing. Even though your person has suddenly come to an awakening, suddenly recognized that you are the most important presence in their life, even saying things like, "This relationship is now crystal clear, there's no more ambiguity. The only way forward is to move ahead together." Hearing those words may stir something within you, like a sudden jolt. It could feel as though, wait a second, how can it suddenly be this way? What about everything I've already gone through? The suffering, the worries, the countless sleepless nights of restless thought, all the heavy days I had to carry alone, what do they mean now? Is it possible that with just one sentence of awakening from them, all of it is wiped away, as if none of it ever happened? That feeling may easily make you wonder, so then, what was the point of all the sorrow I wrestled with? What did all those struggles, all that teeth-gritting endurance to preserve this relationship, amount to in their eyes? Perhaps some of you may feel a little stunned, almost in disbelief. Asterisk what? How can that be, asterisk, when this person suddenly appears and speaks with such certainty? And yet, at the same time, deep within your heart, another part of you feels relieved and even glad, because at the very least they have finally chosen to recognize, to pause, to understand that you are indeed the one most worthy of being cherished. So many of you will think, well then, if they have realized it now, that's something it is worth being glad about. But there will also be those among you who cannot accept it so easily, who cannot immediately flow with this sudden shift. Even so, the fascinating thing here is that even in the moments when you feel irritated, unsettled, or conflicted, this person still holds a strange magnetism that prevents you from staying angry for long. There is something about them that is frustrating yet impossible to truly despise, something that only sharpens the contradiction within your emotions, making it even more evident. And now, when looking from your perspective, how do you currently feel about them? The cards show that you sense there is a certain misalignment. You perceive that at this time, your person sometimes says one thing but does another. They may make promises filled with passion and determination, but their actual actions may not yet fully align with those words. In your eyes, they seem to be in a state where their speech is bold, full of energy, yet when it comes to taking concrete steps, there are still tangles, hesitations, a lack of clarity. Some of you may even think that your person is caught within their own inner conflict. They want to move forward, they long to step ahead, but something still binds them, holding them back from walking with firm and steady steps. You may see them as someone deeply contradictory. On one hand, they yearn for complete happiness, for the picture painted by the Ten of Cups, the warmth of a home, fulfillment, a future of harmony and abundance. Yet at the same time, they remain suspended in the energy of the Hanged Man, still trapped in hesitation, delays, unable to release themselves from their own indecision. And then, somewhere within, you also notice their craving for a fresh start, the raw surge of the Ace of Wands, the energy of ignition, of renewal, the longing to begin again from the very start, with fire and passion. When looking closely, you can still see it clearly. Within their heart there remains a deep and genuine feeling for you, a love colored by the energy of the King of Cups, mature, responsible, desiring to protect and to nurture. Yet intertwined with this is the presence of the Magician, an energy that seeks to create change, to take control, to shape the course of things, but that at times turns into an overuse of charm or cleverness, leaving you with the impression that they are not being entirely transparent. In other words, in your eyes now, this person appears layered, wrapped in many veils. On the one hand, they show an earnest desire to begin again, to love, to build a lasting and solid future with you. On the other hand, they stir your doubts because of the inconsistency between their words and their actions. You can sense their longing to break free, yet you also see them still entangled. You recognize their yearning to rebuild, but you know they have not fully escaped the grip of their own inner contradictions. And this becomes the vivid image of them as you perceive them in this very moment. The energy of this reading reveals a state of tension, a paradox that you yourself can feel emanating from them. There are moments when they speak to you with certainty, with conviction. Yes, I will do this. Yes, I will change. I will move forward. Now I am finally able to do it. I am no longer stuck like before. They say these things to you, even insistently declaring that they are ready to step forward, that all their bindings have been cut away. You hear those words and you believe them. You think, at last, they are ready. They have made their choice to move ahead. And in that moment, a gentle sense of relief arises within you. A quiet spark of hope begins to glow. And yet, after that, when you wait, when you hold on to the hope of finally seeing actions that match the promises they once spoke with such certainty, you realize that everything still seems to remain stuck in place. They have not stepped forward toward you. They have not done the things they once so firmly declared. And when you ask, wait, didn't you say before that you were ready to move forward? You said you had already decided to take that step, so why now do I see nothing happening? The answer you receive turns out to be something completely different. They begin to circle around, saying, well, yes, that's true, but there are still these things, still those matters that haven't been settled. There are things I need to take care of first, so I can't act just yet. That feeling leaves you as though you've been caught in a cycle. One moment they make promises, speaking with conviction, and your heart secretly rejoices, thinking, at last, they have changed, at last, they've decided to move forward with me. But then, immediately afterward, their actions contradict everything. You are left with the sense that their words and their deeds move in opposite directions, and this weighs heavily upon your heart, leaving you uncertain of what you can believe anymore. There are times you see so clearly that you have waited, that you have been patient for so long, placing all of your trust and all of your endurance in them. And yet, while you sit in patience, they seem to be living so comfortably, so peacefully, even radiating happiness, to the point where you begin to wonder, have they forgotten my existence altogether? Have they forgotten that I am sitting here, waiting for them? Or worse, have they chosen a different path entirely, one that no longer has anything to do with me? You may see them as though they are walking along another direction, as if they have erased your waiting from their mind. In truth, that is not exactly the case, at least not according to what the energy of this reading shows, for within them there are still so many unspoken things, still emotions they have yet to reveal. But from your perspective, from the place where you stand, all that is visible to you now is contradiction. On one side, there are the promises, the firm declarations that they will come to you. On the other side, there is reality. They have not moved, they are still delaying, and at times, it even feels as though they have forgotten you entirely. And it is precisely this inconsistency that leaves you unsettled, that torments you and makes you question yourself. In the end, what is the truth? Am I still in their heart at all? Or were all those promises nothing more than fleeting words, quickly spoken and quickly abandoned? All of these questions, all of this unease, is exactly the contradiction that the cards are reflecting for you in this moment. The energy that arises here is very clear. That feeling you are carrying inside, that sense that this person no longer seems to think about what will become of the two of you, but instead lives in their own world, in their own happiness, following choices that they believe are right only for themselves. That is not something you are imagining. It comes directly from their past actions, from their past words, the very things that forced you to think this way. You feel that what they say and what they do not match, that their promises are not embodied in reality, and therefore you see them as someone full of contradictions. And here, the reading confirms that your feeling is entirely understandable. It is not groundless suspicion, it is not some baseless mistrust, but rather the very conclusion anyone would come to if they stood where you stand now. So if you have felt that this person says one thing and does another, then the doubt, the unease you hold within your heart is natural. It is not wrong. And then, as we move into the very heart of the matter, what this person truly thinks of you, the cards reveal a clear turning point. The message here shines through. The waiting has come to an end. It is as though they are saying that the period when you had to sit there, waiting in longing, waiting in doubt, waiting in fear of whether or not they would ever take a step toward you, that entire stretch of time has now closed. They see you through the energy of the Empress, a vision of nurturing, of unconditional love, of beauty, abundance, and powerful vitality. In their eyes, you are the source of life itself, the one who brings them safety, warmth, and true value. Alongside this, the Six of Swords appears, pointing to a journey, a movement, a transition. It is as though after so many inner struggles and storms, they have finally decided to leave behind the turbulent waters and steer themselves toward calmer seas, seas that lead to you. What they wish to say is that from this moment onward, they will no longer leave you waiting in uncertainty. Instead, they carry within them a very clear and deliberate resolve to come to you, to move toward the peace that exists only in your presence. Following this comes the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, and the World. This is a combination of extraordinary strength. It reveals that within their heart, you are the one worth all of their effort, the one worthy of their dedication. They are ready to work, ready to refine themselves, ready to commit with patience and perseverance in order to rebuild this relationship. At the same time, they see you as the embodiment of self-reliance, of accomplishment, of radiant beauty that shines effortlessly, a person who has stood firm on their own power. And it is precisely because of this that they long even more to reach toward you, to touch you, to join with you in completing their own circle. The world shows that in their mind, you are fulfillment itself, the final destination they long for, the sense of completion they yearn to embrace. And finally, the oracle card, Rainbow, emerges, underscoring the truth that after the rain, the sun always shines. After so many trials, after so many detours and wanderings, they have come to realize that you are the vibrant spectrum of color, the radiant bridge that leads them to wholeness and true happiness. What they want to tell you is that all the days of fog and shadow have ended, and now is the time for light, for truth, and for love to be revealed in its fullest clarity. In summary, even though in the past they made you wait in weariness, even though they caused you to doubt with the contradictions between their words and their actions, now within their heart resounds a powerful affirmation, asterisk, the time of waiting is over. Now is the moment for me to walk toward you, wholeheartedly, because you are the most precious thing in my life, asterisk. The cards speak with great clarity, declaring that the period of stagnation, the period of stillness that left you waiting in uncertainty, unsure of what would happen next, all of that has now closed. What they wish to convey is that the old phase, the endless cycle that kept repeating itself, has ended, and now is the time to open a new chapter, a new journey forward. In the depths of their soul, they have come to realize a truth that may seem simple yet has taken them so long to fully comprehend, that you are the greatest abundance in their life. You are not merely someone important, you are the very source that makes their spirit whole, that fills their heart with completeness, happiness, and serenity. This is not wealth of the material kind, but wealth of the heart, fulfillment of the spirit, the light that brightens and gives meaning to their entire world. They now see that the path ahead must be one walked together with you, no longer a solitary journey. They are saying, I want to continue with you, I want to share the long road from here on by your side, and this is not a fleeting thought, but a true resolution, born out of the time they spent apart from you, the silence that carved out an empty space within the relationship. That very distance became their inner journey, a pilgrimage of the soul to recognize just how much you mean to them, to understand that only with you does their heart feel complete. Now, having passed through that journey, they return to you with a new maturity, with a deeper clarity, and with a profound understanding of the truth they can no longer deny. If you and this person once shared a relationship, once loved one another, but were then forced apart, the energy here now reveals a promise of return, a yearning to come back to that time when you were by their side. They long not only to return to you as a person, but to return to the moments of happiness, of warmth, to the things that once belonged solely to the two of you. They want to relive it, to continue nurturing the bond, and above all, to make amends for the shortcomings, to heal what was left undone. And for those who never officially entered into a relationship, who never named what existed between you, the message carries another meaning. This person is now determined to walk the same path as you, to share life from this point forward, to share emotions, to share joy. They look at you and see a common future, a journey walked side by side, a road where both of you step forward together, no longer alone in isolation. What is most important here is that they have come to understand that their greatest wealth does not lie in external things, not in money, not in fame, not in recognition, but in you, the one who makes their heart bloom, who brings peace, healing, and fullness. You are the one who makes their life luminous, who fills it with meaning. And because of this, they want to hold you close, to build with you a lasting future, a bond that is steady, deep, and enduring. Yes, everything that has been lived through, every twist and turn, was only to lead them to this undeniable truth, the one they have finally realized, after everything is still you. Even if the connection you shared in the past never bore the official name of a relationship, even if it was never formally called love, you have always been present beside them in a way that was unmistakably special. You never abandoned them, never turned away when they were weak. On the contrary, you were always the one to stand as a support, always extending your hand, encouraging, comforting, a gentle light guiding them out of the shadows within their soul. You did not need to say much. Your presence, your quiet care, the way you lifted them in silence, all of this allowed them to recognize that you are the image of a life partner, a true spiritual companion they have always needed. And only now, at last, have they grown mature enough to admit it. So it has been you all along. You are the one I have been searching for from the very beginning. The cards also speak of how the blurred stretch of time, those days that simply drifted by without the two of you truly connecting, or the distance that kept you apart, has now reached its end. That silence, that period when you lived separately, out of rhythm, no longer sharing with each other, has closed. It is no more because the awakening has arrived. This person has opened their eyes and finally recognized what is truly precious, who it is they cannot live without. And here, the rainbow card appears, carrying a message of emphasis. A rainbow does not simply appear on its own, it only emerges after the rain. In the same way, all the twists and turns, all the days of distance, the stretches of silence, even the instability and uncertainty you both endured, were like the necessary rain so that now, at last, they could see the rainbow. Without the interruption, without the pause that forced them to lose and then to feel, there would not be this moment of awakening. There would not be this depth of appreciation they now carry for you. For those who once loved and then had to part, it was that very separation that became a mirror, reflecting back the truth that you are the only one, the light they cannot be without. For those who never truly stepped into love together, it was that very hesitation, that delaying and not daring to move forward, that showed them how much time was wasted, because the answer, the right choice, had always been there in front of them. It was you. This rainbow is not only a beautiful image, it is the symbol of renewed hope, of a new beginning after the storm has passed. It confirms that it was precisely through those days that once seemed meaningless that this person has now truly recognized your value, and now they no longer wish to miss the chance again. You're their rainbow after the rain, living proof that light always follows darkness, and that true happiness has finally been found. The feeling when drawing this energy is exactly that, like a sudden exclamation. So you've finally realized at last, a recognition that may come late, but one that still carries immense meaning. The energy here conveys with clarity that this person has always carried a certain stubbornness, a tendency to place themselves at the center. And forgive me if my words sound as though I am criticizing, but truly, the energy shows them to be someone somewhat selfish, someone who often thinks first of themselves. Yet alongside that selfishness exists something very pure, very innocent, something impossible to hate. This person carries within them both childishness and sincerity, and so, even though at times they may wear you out, you still cannot entirely turn your back on them. They are the kind of person whose emotions can so easily take control. For example, the smallest thing can make them sulk, pout, or slip into moods of baseless annoyance. They have a tendency to switch into childlike mode, where if something doesn't go their way, they fall silent, turn away, refusing to listen to anyone. At times, when they are hungry or tired, that irritability multiplies, making them even more prone to snapping, more unsettled, like a child who cannot stand not having things their way. The feeling is clear. Though they may be grown in years, their temperament still carries an immaturity, a streak of impulsiveness, a natural clumsiness when it comes to handling emotions. This is the kind of person who can be somewhat troublesome in the way they demand attention, as if they need constant care, someone who requires extra patience, extra tending to, like a person you must look after rather than simply share a relationship with on equal ground. They may cause you to sigh again and again, giving you the sense that you are having to supervise them rather than just be with them. Yet deep inside, what makes it hard for you to stay angry for long is their rawness, their honesty, their lack of pretense. Whatever they think, they show immediately, wearing their emotions on the surface, not knowing how to mask or to act a part. This childishness, though exhausting, also makes them endearing in a way impossible to hate completely. And most importantly, no matter how stubborn, no matter how naive or impulsive, now this person has truly realized. They have reached the recognition that you are the important one, the one who must be cherished. The sense here is that they had to wander in circles, create troubles for themselves, stumble over their own mistakes, before awakening to the truth that the love you gave them is irreplaceable. Because of this, the energy now reveals that they are carrying within them the determination to return, or to step toward you with greater seriousness, with an unspoken promise that this time they will know how to hold on, how to value what is precious. If you and they were once lovers who went through separation, this is a strong and unmistakable sign of awakening. They want to come back, to make amends, to begin again with a different attitude than before. And if the two of you never officially dated, never had a named bond, then this energy carries the message that from now on, they have seen your worth clearly, and they will treat you with reverence, with the heart of someone who has finally grown. So, even though in the past they were childish, even though they once wore you out, in this very moment what they hold in their heart is transformation, a shift born from the realization that you are someone worth cherishing, someone to treasure, and they no longer wish to repeat the mistakes of the past. Yes, when stepping back into this relationship, there may still be moments when they become moody, stubborn, or at times a little selfish. For example, when they are sleepy, when they are hungry, or when their mood is low, they may sulk, they may refuse to listen, they may even deliberately ignore what you are saying. But the energy shows that even with these small habits, these minor flaws, this is no longer something that will ruin the bond between the two of you. They are no longer the same. They have grown, they have matured, and they no longer wish for trivial matters to harm the connection you share. Perhaps the important thing for you now is not to try so hard to change them with constant criticism or endless advice. The more you push, the more you force them into a mold, the more likely they are to retreat into their childish ego. What the cards reveal here is that the softer you remain, the less you speak in the tone of correction, the more harmonious and peaceful the flow of this relationship will be. I also draw one more card for guidance. The energy that appears shows many signs of renewal in this connection. For those who have broken up, there is a strong possibility that the bond is on its way to being restored. For those who have never officially been together, a new phase is now unfolding, a genuine beginning where both of you can finally walk together. And so, what should be done now? The cards show this clearly. Seize the opportunity when it arrives. This is the golden moment, a rare chance the universe is offering to the two of you, so do not hesitate. When the Knight of Swords appears, it declares that this is the time for action. For decisiveness, it is no longer the time for standing still and waiting. The energy here reminds you that when opportunity knocks, you must move forward. Do not weigh yourself down with endless thoughts of how you should behave, whether you should hold back your words, whether you should restrain yourself in order to avoid conflict. The message is crystal clear. Do not overthink. Do not let the fear of saying the wrong thing, the worry of slipping up, or the anxiety that one careless word could lead to separation keep you bound. For it is that very hesitation that becomes the barrier, preventing love from flowing naturally. The universe is opening a new doorway for you, and the guidance is to step through with conviction, with an open heart, with the trust that this relationship has turned a page and is entering a new chapter. If in your heart you still carry the fear, last time the breakup hurt so much, what if it happens again? The card wants to reassure you, it will not repeat in the same way. The energy has shifted. This is the opportunity of rebirth, the invitation to live fully in love, rather than allowing yourself to be imprisoned by fears of the past. So the message here is this: receive it, allow the feelings to move forward, give yourself permission to live truly in your emotions without restraint, without the constant worry of how you must act in order for the relationship to last. When you release yourself, when you let things flow naturally, that is when love is nourished. That is when the two of you can finally enjoy the happiness you are destined to share. I sense here that at times you have restrained yourself too much, thinking perhaps I shouldn't say this, or maybe it's better to keep silent, and in doing so you unintentionally created distance, hesitation, walls that were never necessary. But the message the cards bring is this: you do not need to be so hesitant. There is a beautiful saying, restraint is not always needed, but understanding always is. What this means is, you don't have to suppress yourself, you don't need to silence your truth, but when you speak, choose your words with awareness, with tenderness, with the kind of care that allows the other person to receive them easily. Because in the energy of this moment, your person seems to have matured compared to before. They have walked their own path of self-awareness, and now they truly want to return, or to step forward alongside you. For those who are not returning from the past, it is a readiness to enter a relationship with you on a much deeper level. This means that now your words, your sharing, are more likely to be heard, no longer brushed aside as they once were. Still, there is one reminder here: everything must come in its right time. There are times when, even if your words are entirely true, entirely born from sincere care, if they are spoken at a moment when this person is too weary, burdened with too much pain or too many wounds, then those words, even in their truth, can easily become a blade, one more strike that leaves them drained and unable to take in anything further. It is like the image of the Ten of Swords, where someone has already collapsed beneath too many blades. In that state, even the truth becomes unbearable to hear. That is why the guidance here is this. You may speak your mind, you may express yourself, but observe the timing. When you sense they are in a state of openness, in a place where they can receive with a softer heart, that is when your words will carry their deepest and most healing effect. Overall, the energy of this reading points toward positive transformation. This person is no longer who they were, no longer wishing to circle back into the same endless patterns. They are stepping forward with greater maturity, and you too are encouraged to let go of excessive hesitation, keeping only the delicacy and sensitivity in how you convey your feelings. The connection between you both is opening into a brighter current, a path that promises more joy, more clarity, and more mutual understanding than before. What I see here is truly a fresh and promising cycle. Once again, the cards whisper to you, do not worry too much, do not hold back too much. Let things unfold naturally, while never forgetting the subtle attentiveness you extend to the other. When you do this, the relationship will grow more harmonious, more gentle, and more enduring. And as a closing sign, the cards show clearly that this is the time to expect something bright, a new rainbow after the rain. The hard days, the periods of distance, the silent moments of enduring and quiet have passed. Now is the time for you to smile, to welcome what is coming with an open and joyful heart. I will bring this reading for those of you in pile 3 to a close here. I am truly grateful that you have listened until the end. Today's reading is not only a message from the universe, but also a bridge connecting us, souls who are searching for deeper understanding and connection in life. If you feel that your heart was touched, even just a little, leave a comment or share a symbol you love, so I know you have been here and that the message has found you. Do not forget to press like and subscribe to support me. Your companionship is an invaluable gift, a powerful source of motivation for me to continue bringing forth deeper, more meaningful readings. I look forward to seeing you again in the next readings.